is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com.
Look at this run from Devin Neal. There goes Devin Neal. Touchdown, Kansas.
365 Sports is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
To run right up the middle. There goes C.J. Donaldson. Donaldson in a gain of 43.
365 Sports is also brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans since 1952.
Down, he throws it up with a flag down for Hudson, who makes the catch. Hudson's off to the races. He is gone. 75 yards.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Search 365 Sports on YouTube. Brought to you by TFNB, your bank for life.
Second down and 9 after the 1-yard run. Another chance for Giddens. He's got the first down and more. Look at Giddens go inside the 10.
365 Sports is turbocharged by Unite Private Networks. Find out more at uniteprivatenetworks.com.
Rising out of the pocket, dumps one off. It is caught at the goal line, reaching it out is Keithy. He's got the touchdown.
Now here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go on 365 Sports. Paul is back. All three of us are in the studio along with Garrett Ross and Jack McKenzie. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, I'm David Smoke, and we have a lot to get to, including a very busy guest list in our lineup that will check in with Kansas. And then also today, we're going to hear from two college quarterbacks. Jacob Zeno, UAB, used to be at Baylor, and Baylor quarterback Dequan Finn will join us. Plus, it looks like Nikki Collen, Baylor women's basketball coach, will jump in with us a little bit later on in the show. So here we are. Paul, how was Nashville?
It was lovely. It was a nice little getaway. I got to see my in-laws, and we had a good time.
Good. That's good. That city is it a city of lights like Vegas or?
Yeah, I mean, where I'm in Murfreesboro is a nice little suburb where Middle Tennessee State is, but yeah, we didn't get into downtown. I didn't until today when I went to the airport. But yeah, it's like at night, it's lit up. It's a party city. I'll tell you how much it is. This morning I saw guys. This is at 6:00 in the morning at B&A, sitting in the bar. Still drinking from their bachelor party, and then I sent you guys a picture of one guy who was just wrecked.
Yeah, he was out.
Yeah.
He was absolutely out. All right, so Baylor recruiting when it comes to the class of 2025. Today, a big offensive lineman. We know they've been able to pick up some skilled people and defensive linemen, and today they ended up taking a player that was committed to Vanderbilt. He's Matthew Parker from Jackson Prep in Mississippi, 6'8", 305-pound offensive lineman, has committed to Baylor after visiting Baylor, and the Bears get an offensive lineman. I saw Mason Miller, of course, was pumped up today on his Twitter feed.
Yeah, it's a continued momentum for this recruiting class. The 2025 class is just speeding right on along, and surprising that we haven't felt this way in so long. But then again, I guess not surprising just given their struggles the last couple of years. But it's amazing what a breath of fresh air some recruiting momentum can be, especially when it's not just picking up guys, but it's picking up what appears to be quality and stars and things of that nature. Now, he's not highly rated like some of the other recent commits, but he adds to a position of great need on the offensive line of where they've had some success. It's been at running back. It's been at, skill positions, wide receiver. It hasn't as much been on the offensive line. So they need bodies. That's, if you look at the class, like, all right, where does it still need a lot of work on the line? And so to see that come down today was certainly great news. And to flip him from the SEC, from Vanderbilt, is also always good to, get a flip when you can possibly do that. And maybe there's more flips in the works. I mean, they had some visitors this past weekend. A lot of their current commits. They had Burns, the linebacker, committed to Texas Tech, who came in, and so they're not done by any means. We'll see what they still got cooking and up their sleeve, but just good to see them get their second commit coming out of the weekend. The first one was a 2026 running back out of Honey Grove, and so he
Ryland Morris, yep.
He got the party started on, I guess that was Saturday or Sunday, and then you see some of the lasting effects of that here today with this pledge. So, yeah, they're in a great run right now, to be sure, and really excited about what this can turn into if they're able to actually keep it all together and go win enough games this season to sign this class and then build off of that. That'll be the most important thing, obviously, but not disappointed in the slightest in what they've got going right now.
Yeah, go win some games this fall, get to a bowl game, hopefully win that game, and then you can see that it is in the past in college football, it was really hard to change who you were really fast. And I think especially for coaches, because you had to do different things. But I do applaud Dave Aranda in saying, okay, it's been 2 years here of dud recruiting, and we're not making the waves that we need to. So how do we change that, and what's available to us to do that? And how do I break from what I want it to be in my head from what it is in reality? And I think that's a really hard thing for human beings to do.
Dave Aranda had to look in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. But it's hard. It's really hard for people to change and to change how they look at it. And his wasn't stubborn in the fact that he was trying to be old-fashioned. He was trying to be too democratic or not democratic, but too Candyland with everything. Like, everything needs to be even.
Everybody, no matter where you are, we're going to get the same amount of money. Star or third-string long snapper.
That's great, but that's not how that works in any walk of life.
By the way, Craig, there was the article. We'll get to this later in the show if we have time. If not, we're going to do this for sure. But there was a SICM 365 staff roundtable. Here are the titles to everybody's response. Colt, Grayson, Travis, and Craig. Colts was be competitive and make a bowl.
You should probably
on the website. It's on the website, SICM365.com. What?
You should probably preface what the question is.
That's what I said. What's considered a successful season?
You didn't say that.
Oh, I did? Okay.
You left that part
What's
out.
considered a success? Thank you for letting me know that. So it's on the website. Colt said be competitive and make a bowl. Grayson's was make a bowl. Travis, you know it when you see it. Craig's was are we having fun? Yeah, and Travis and Craig, they're all well done, but that kind of, those two, you'll know it when you see it because we knew it pretty early last year. What we saw was not going to be good.
Yeah, and Travis, me and Grayson reporting the podcast, the Bearcast, earlier today, which is our Baylor podcast each Tuesday at 11:15 over on that channel, Baylor Athletics on SICM 365, and he put a question in the mailbag, or just a comment in our mailbag of saying that he liked my answer and that he remembers us being at the Tech game last year and sitting in the press box and both just like halfway through that game just being like, this sucks, let's get out of here, because it was just so awful to watch. And that was what the whole season was like. Every week you were like, all right, 6 more games left. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, who are they playing this week? And it was a drag, and it wasn't fun, and it was not something anybody was really looking forward to. It was just more of like, at some point, you just got to finish out the season and see where it goes and then get to the offseason and get excited about that. And so, yeah, it was a total drag, and that's kind of the basis of my response there is, yeah, clearly you're going to see if they're better based on the number of wins, but that's not going to tell the whole tale. Are they winning in style, or are they winning and having fun winning, or are they getting lucky and getting a couple bounces against bad teams and they win 2 extra games? See, that's not improvement. That's just being luckier. Whereas if out there they're having fun, they're flying around, they're smiling and, winning games and doing all that, then, yeah, I think that'll be very clearly a successful season no matter what the win total looks like at the end of that. So that's where I was coming from, is just let's have some fun, man. Let's enjoy football.
Yeah, I agree. And then also I like the fact you'll know it when you see it. I think you will. Is it going to be that let's go to the morgue for 3.5 hours to go watch a football game?
I would compare it to this. And I like what Travis said there. If you blindfolded me and said, okay, we're going to go to 2 gas station bathrooms. One of them will be a Buc-ee's. It will be immaculately clean, and you won't really know that you're in a bathroom until I take off the blindfold. And the other one,
I think you might know before then, but go ahead.
Will be a truck stop that I pick in the weirdest part of the highway.
Yeah.
And that was kind of how Baylor was last year. Like right away, you're like, I don't think I want to be in this room. And it was really bad. And that's I don't see that coming this year. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for all the Big 12, but especially for a team that's trying to rebound like Baylor, it's going to be hard. But I do think that they are pointed in the right direction.
And it will be clear to see, whether they're better or not, I think, and that'll be in the style of their play. And I just wanted to hammer this home. Do you realize what their 3 wins were last year? It was an awful showing in the opener against a what was that? Texas? Who was
Long
that?
Island.
No,
Long Island.
They lost to Texas State, but they beat Long
3
Island
wins,
and struggled to do it. Yeah,
they struggled to beat Long Island at home, which was their only win at home the entire year, mind you, and that was in the first 2 weeks of the season. And then it was this miraculous comeback against UCF, and it was fending off Cincinnati at the very end of the game and finding a win there. That was their 3 wins, and those were all 3. None of them were impressive. They were brutal, and so, I think it'll be very clear how different this team is pretty quickly.
And the miraculous win against UCF is still hard to fathom. Scott Satterfield in Cincinnati lost Micah Coleman. Don't really know about what and how big of a piece it is to what they have, but remember, isn't Dante Corleone on the mend? And Coleman will miss the rest of the year. That's a note from our good friend Chad Brendel. Also,
Michael Coleman
we'll be able to give you updates as we go on day by day when there's anything involving a team in the Big 12 or elsewhere that matters. We'll try to give you those updates every single day.
Yeah, Dante Corleone is waiting clearance to get back on the field, and Micah Coleman was somebody they brought in via the transfer portal. So sucks for him to get there and get ruled out for this season. Before he can even take a real snap in a game for them. So I think they're looking at a redshirt possibility. I'm not sure how all that'll work out. He wasn't some star signee necessarily, but they definitely needed him. And so now they're going to have to probably look towards some younger guys. So, not what you wanted to see if you're Cincinnati. Not a backbreaker, but not good news.
All right. We did this yesterday when we start to see the watch list come out. Maxwell Award yesterday. We're not going to name 60 to 80 players, but I do have Garrett who put up the names of those from the Big 12. First of all, the Outland Trophy watch list, the best interior offensive or defensive linemen. There are the 9 players from the Big 12, from Dalton Cooper. There's Corleone, Green at Colorado, and then Hunter, Kandra, Mikulski, Milam, Savanea, and then also Junior Tafuna from Utah. And, of course, if you look at those names, Colorado, Arizona, Utah, all incoming schools among the list of 9. So there's the Outland Trophy list, the best interior offensive or defensive lineman. That will change dramatically throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, going to be tough for Dante Corleone if he can't get cleared. So,
sure.
I mean, obviously he deserves to be on that list just based on what he's done up to this point. But, yeah, we'll see if he's good to go or not. But, yeah, I mean, it's good to just check out these lists. And, there's a number of guys, like I think it was 80 for the Maxwell yesterday. I'm not sure what the total is for every one of them, but it's always cool to see your name mentioned.
75 for the
yes. I mean, so it's like it's a cool little honor. It doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, other than hey, they're watching out for you. So go out and make some plays in the regular season and do your thing, and we'll see if you can't take home some hardware. But there's a little bit of breaking news.
Yeah,
We're just talking about Baylor recruiting.
Caleb Burns, who had been committed to Texas Tech, but go ahead, Craig.
Well, Caleb Burns, who was committed to Texas Tech, 2025 linebacker, visited Baylor this past weekend, and he has flipped to the Bears from Texas Tech. He had committed to Tech just on July 1st, so Baylor was one of the final schools that was involved with him when he made his decision. It was a big win for Joey McGuire and that staff in Lubbock, and here is that momentum that we were talking about on the recruiting trail as the Bears go and grab Caleb Burns and flip him. So that is at a big position of need at linebacker, and that is a guy they really, really wanted, and that is a huge flip for Dave Aranda and company. So, yeah, man, they're cooking with fish grease right now.
Yeah, and he had 21 total offers so far. And the 24/7 composite, he's listed as a 3-star, but based on the numbers, he's like right on the edge of being a 4-star linebacker, if that means anything to you. But pretty much, I mean, every school in Texas but about 3, it looks like, offered him. So Not to mention SEC, Big 12, ACC, all over the place.
This is a commitment that happened decommitment in less than a month. He had committed to Tech back on July the 1st.
Yeah, so he was highly, highly sought after. Look, Cypress, Texas, there outside of Houston, has a couple high schools in it, and they just keep feeding the monster. That's one of the better little recruiting neighborhoods, I guess, if you want to call
anything
it.
in Houston.
Yeah, but like in Houston in particular, if you wanted to say, like, okay, where can I go? Like, I'm going to go to Shadow Creek. I'm going to Katy. I'm probably going to go to Cypress. I'm going to make sure I hit those places for sure.
Bronco Nagurski watch list. We gave you the Outland Trophy. This is to, by the way, the best defensive player. Last year, Xavier Watts, a safety from Notre Dame, won it. He's back on the list, but here are the Big 12 nominees. There's Lee Hunter, a couple of Hunters, Lee and Travis from UCF in Colorado, Batty from BYU, Kobe Bryant, hell of a name, obviously, Kansas, Tafuna there again, Cooper from Iowa State, Corleone's name again, and then Manu from Arizona, along with teammate, the cornerback, Tacario Harris. And there were thoughts that Davis, thoughts that he might leave, and he ended up staying. Martin is a hell of a player from Oklahoma State. Freiler from Iowa State, and Colin Oliver from Oklahoma State. 75 players, those are the nominees, at least for now, from the Big 12 Conference.
If I had to pick from this list, if I just said pick one guy who would win this right now, I'm going to say Jacob Manu from Arizona.
From the Big 12?
From the Big 12. Like, if you pick one guy from this list of people, and it's not a knock on anybody else. I mean, Travis Hunter is going to be on every award list he's eligible for, obviously. But Jacob Manu, when I think of, like, Bronco Nagurski and usually who that award goes to, he's that kind of dude who's going to have like 300 tackles. Yeah. It's going to be I say that, but he's going to have a lot of tackles. He's going to make a lot of plays. That's the kind of force that he is there.
I think there's a number of good candidates. Manu's as good of a guess as any, but certainly you could see Travis Hunter walking away with this award, or a handful of other guys on this list. I think the Big 12's got some pretty good defenders this year, particularly Oklahoma State, Arizona are a couple of really intriguing teams. Iowa State is every year, so that's nothing new. But, each of those represented with a couple players. I think you add Utah into the mix. That just toughens you up as a conference defensively. And, I'm not sure what to expect on Kobe Bryant in Kansas. I expect him to be really good, though. So, it makes sense to see his name and all those check boxes that you think of when you think of some of the better defenders in this league. But, it's a pretty good crew, and I would think that there's a good chance somebody could make some noise and end up in that finalist list.
All right, so there's those two watch lists released, and again, you can be added, you can be taken off over the next several weeks as the season begins at the end of August to early September. All right, Paul put this one out there. The College Football Report at CFP Rep will do one of these where it shows the number of ranked victories among everybody when it comes in during the playoff era among all of the Power 4 teams. And you can see the logos are kind of crammed together, but Alabama with a huge lead over Georgia, Ohio State. This is not a surprise. Oklahoma very high up on the list, which you would think since 2014. Texas and TCU near the bottom of at least the high level of the first row, and then you see going forward all the way down to Rutgers, the only team that does not have a ranked win, but against an opponent who's ranked. But you could think, based on all we're hearing about, that could change this year.
Yeah, finally get in that win column. And it kind of, if you want to know how things are going for your program without knowing the full story, this is a nice little stat with this is when you play other good teams, you win a lot. And Alabama with 54, that just shows you Nick Saban was Nick Saban, and Kirby Smart's the next wave, and then it's close all the way through there. But
we need to make sure we don't. I said Oklahoma State's just 2 notches below them at 25 wins against ranked opponents, which says quite a bit about Mike Gundy in that program.
Yeah, Mike Gundy's tragic flaw is that his ranked losses come at the absolute worst times. Like, it's not he'll win a big game, he'll win several big games in a season, but for his career, it's been either a ranked loss or an upset doesn't only come, which they come for everybody, but it just seems to find them right when, even if it's not right at the end of the season, it's sometime when, okay, they lost and then another team won that they needed to lose that week as well, and they're kind of in a pickle. That's where it's been for Oklahoma State.
Yep, there's the list right there. Craig, anything on that list? It's the obvious of Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, 1 through 4, but Oklahoma, and we knew that. Maybe not as much the last couple of years, but they did beat Texas last year, as we mentioned. That's a nice little list of some alphas right there since 2014 over the last 10 years. Yeah,
I don't particularly want to highlight that Twitter account all that much. I would shout out the originally where they got that from, but that was one of the folks at Media Days that just took stuff and ran with it from us. So, not a big fan of that particular account, but I don't think it's a surprise to see that who's who of basically the last 25 years, with the most ranked wins. I mean, that's about all of them, right? I mean, Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma, LSU, and then, super interesting to see Oklahoma State as they've had consistent success, just haven't been able to bust through the ceiling all the way. That's the one thing that's evaded them is they've been at or near the top a lot and hung around there and tried to bust through, but have just fallen a little bit short. But they've been so good for so long now under Mike Gundy. So, I'm not really surprised to see them there. And, I think TCU, they've obviously played in a lot of big games over the college football playoff era, including that great run a couple of years ago where they won a bunch of close games, but got through that gauntlet of the regular season unscathed and just couldn't finish it in the postseason. But, I think that's, it's something cool to look at, and I think that's about who you would project, maybe twist one or two or change one or two, but that's pretty much at the top, the best teams we've seen over the last, 10 years now, the college football playoff
2014, yeah. Arkansas with John Calipari, and, of course, their roots in Northwest Arkansas with Tyson Chicken. Razorback nuggets are now available in select Walmart stores in Northwest Arkansas and also in Missouri.
That's what you call a double whammy there, as a Tyson Arkansas. It's a triple whammy. It's an Arkansas Razorback nugget from Tyson Foods that's only available at Walmart, which are all Arkansas-based businesses. That's a Woo Pig Suey holler there. Garrett, would you eat these as an LSU fan?
I would not. I was just thinking about all the polluted water with Tyson.
Oh,
with
you
these.
can't say. You eat crawfish that come out of the mud.
There goes our next sponsor.
Oh, my God. I don't know if they're – I bet they're pretty good. I'm not a big inside package chicken-type nuggets guy.
They're chicken nuggets from the grocery store. I mean, that's what they are. I mean, they're fine. If that's what I got to get mine a little crispier because I don't like when they're like soggy and kind of chewy. So I got to let mine sit in the oven a little while longer. But they're good, and I think that's a cool marketing deal for Arkansas. I'm sure if you're a Razorback fan and you see that at the grocery store, you're all over that.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that might go to NIL.
Oh, I'm sure.
It costs like $15 a bag, so I'd imagine they could scrape some of that off and go land a running back or something.
Those are for basketball right now. I think those are for basketball. That's what that's for. Smokey, have you ever had the Dino Nuggets that Tyson makes?
The what?
Dino, like they're shaped like dinosaurs.
No.
Garrett, when was the last time you had a Dino Nugget?
Not very. It's been a while, but Parker eats them almost every day.
Okay,
almost every day.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's been like a couple weeks. I mean, I usually get the normal ones, but if those are there,
if the dinos are on sale. Then it's
they're the same thing, and they actually could be better, crispier because they're not just the circular shape. So they actually can be like a little bit better in some ways. So
a couple of more notes, and then Michael Swain, who covers Kansas, they're one of the teams in the Big 12 that opened up workouts. TCU the other today. Baylor today announcing the extension for women's basketball coach Nikki Collen. She has been there since. Well, she got there 3 years ago, has had a fairly nice record. It's a very good record, 78-28, 3 trips to the tournament. Last year, man, they had one hell of an effort before losing to USC at the end of the game. Signs an extension. She's going to join us for a moment or two at the end of the around 5:20 or so today with her reaction. This was like, I didn't expect this. I'm not saying she didn't deserve it. I think she does. Of course, the need to win now some tournament games, more of them. But this was kind of a silent assassin type move, and Mack Rhodes and Baylor extends her through 2030.
Well, they made a good run in the tournament last year, and it was a couple years ago they won a Big 12 championship. So it doesn't always feel that way because they're just not talked about the same way they were with the previous staff and all the cult of personality that existed back then.
Right.
And I just think, Nikki's had to battle some of the fan side of things and just the support, the greater level of support, not like from the school or, the hardcores or anything like that. But I just think it's been tough to get everybody on board the way that they were when they were used to just going to the, Elite Eight every year, like it was going out of style. And so she's done, I think, a really good job given the circumstance. It's one of the hardest jobs in America, I would think, in women's basketball, replacing Kim Mulkey and doing so at a place like this where it's not like, North Carolina basketball or something, where you just roll in a new coach and you expect to still be great. Like there's some major questions about like what's this going to look like on the other side of things. So she won a Big 12 championship, had a nice run last year deep into the tournament, and I think the announcement was surprising, like you said, but I understand where they're coming from and having a little bit of backing to the belief that they already had to begin with of like, yeah, let's keep this thing rocking and rolling and see where it can take us. So, yeah, I was not planning on talking about a contract extension anytime soon, but I also didn't know the details of her original contract. So maybe that was about new. But either way, I think that's a great sign. And certainly if you're a women's basketball fan or commit, then I think that's tremendous news.
Taking over for someone who won 3 national titles is never easy. And there's going to be, some boat rocking when it happens. And she's I know that she probably took some lumps undeserved and just maybe deserved in some spots, but after what they did last year, you can really say like, all right, they've got the arrow pointed up and she's figured it out.
One of the things about her now, you got to win, especially at a program with the lineage, like you mentioned, Craig. Some of the blue bloods in basketball has she done anything that has created any kind of drama? Basically, has been. I lost my.
No.
It's been like this. She's been fighting to get this program where she wants it, where it needs to be, and good for Mac Rhodes and Baylor. She'll join us today again at around 5:20 or so on this show. I'm going to leave the Nick Sanders, Texas running back that's kind of like almost a walk-on story from the baseball team from Waco. We'll do that a little bit later in the show. When we come back, Michael Swain, who covers KU for 247, they opened up their fall practices today. TCU did too. Steven Johnson will join us tomorrow, among other Big 12 analysts. But today, we also will hear from Dequan Finn, Baylor quarterback, Jacob Zeno at UAB, Nikki Collen, John McClain, Chris Grant, commissioner of the Southland Conference, and also Craig's Off the Radar on Paul's Top 5. This is 365 Sports. Stonewood Dental in Robinson, Texas. Dr. Steve Childress is my dentist. There are 5 dentists inside of that business, and they're all fantastic. And I've actually had a couple of others who have treated me when it was so busy that Dr. Childress started me on a little bit of, I guess you could say, fixing a problem I had with my dental work. This is like a year and a half ago. And then I went in front of a couple of the other dentists, and they worked on me until he was open again. It was like seamless, clockwork, tremendous professionalism. The hygienists, the techs, the specialists, those who greet you at the front door, those who call you to remind you about an appointment or set up an appointment, it is just so well run and incredible business in Robinson, Texas. Stonewood Dental, a game plan that I now have when it comes to my dental work that I have to make sure I don't get away from because I remember what happened when I've done that before. Then all of a sudden, root canals or teeth being pulled or whatever else might come with that. Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, and 4 other dentists, my dentists, in Robinson, Texas.
Celebrate American quality and value during the Red, White, and Blue sales tag event at Richard Carr. Drive the best. Get professional-grade power and first-class interior in a GMC Sierra. Qualified buyers save $9,000 on all 2024 GMC Sierra SLT models in stock with qualified trade-in. Military and first responders save an extra $500. Plus, find Red, White, and Blue savings tags on vehicles all over the lot. Drive home American quality and value during our Red, White, and Blue sales tag event at Richard Carr GMC.
Richard Carr. They have the truck for you. Let the journey to financial brilliance begin with Genco's limited time offers. Max your earnings with a Kasasa cash account and get paid monthly with a 4.25 APY. That's $425 annually. Then invest in a 13-month share certificate and earn 4.9 APY. That's $529. Earn cash and outshine the rest. At Genco, we offer you the sun and the moon. Kasasa based on average daily balance of $10,000. Certificate based on $10,000 investment. See GencoFCU.org for details. NCUA.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive is a premier elite life-changing experience where you can change your mind, body, and soul. Offering over 50 group exercise classes every week, including boot camp, bar, silver sneakers, and 10 cycling classes with morning and evening classes available. New state-of-the-art bikes that allow you to compete against yourself with a screen monitoring your speed, miles, resistance, and power. Personal training with Christy London, Randall Corley, Alex Botch, and Nathan Roach, where you will be encouraged and motivated to grow, losing inches in weight the right way. There's a kids club included with your membership, plus sauna and tanning bed. 16 tennis courts, plus a beautiful stadium court, and longtime youth tennis pro Britt Coleman and assistant junior pro Kenna. Adult tennis lessons and clinics with Blake, and the commitment to pickleball with 8 courts and instructor Jody Thurman. Visit the website at wacotennis.com next to Hawaiian Falls on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, a wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trust. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
This is 365 Sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Here we go, 365 Sports. Michael Swain covers KU for 247. They started their fall football workouts today. 3 yesterday in the Big 12. Today, TCU and also KU, and Michael joins Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, and David Smoke. Michael, is it simple as how Jalen Daniels stays healthy, how KU goes this year, and how deep or better they can be after a very nice, solid season in 23?
I think you're right. You know, you don't want to be reductive and say a season comes down to one player, but I think you're talking about KU reaching, you know, what I think people in the media feel, right, which is, you know, top of the Big 12, near the top, competing for a spot in the title game. Look, I think a lot of that does rely on the health of Jalen Daniels. He's a difference maker. You can just see in the numbers, right? I think it's like a 5-to-1 touchdown interception ratio in the games he's been healthy over the last 2 seasons. But obviously that has been the big issue so far. And so he's starting on a good footing here. You know, was able to practice fully, did a lot of 11-on-11 stuff today as camp got underway. That's a huge positive for KU, but I really do think, you know, for KU fans and for anyone tracking Kansas, like, I think staying tuned to the health of Jalen Daniels over the next couple weeks and couple months is going to be really important, because I think as talented as he is, he still has not played a full college football season and been healthy for the entirety of it. So I think everyone around Lawrence is hoping and I think rooting for Jalen to be able to have the season that I think a lot of people believe he can have if he's able to play 12, 13, if they're lucky enough, 14, you know, types of games. And from there, you know, you kind of let the cards fall where they may. K's got a light schedule this year, and I think if they have a healthy Daniels, he's going to be the type of guy that can help elevate this team to a level that I don't know if many people would have expected, you know, 3-4 years ago when Lance Leipold was getting things started here.
Michael, the defense has steadily improved over Lance Leipold's time, and that was one of the things that 2 years ago you knew that if Jalen Daniels was in the game, they had it within, 2 scores or less in the fourth quarter, that it was going to be a game and they could maybe come back and win that. Last year, the defense could win games for them in spots. Do you think this is a team that can maybe win some games with their defense this year in case they do have an off night offensively?
Well, I think the secondary players have the ability to do that for KU. You look at having, Kobe Bryant and Melo Dotson. I'm hard pressed to find a more proven duo of cornerbacks. I think in the conference, I'm not well versed enough to say the country. Like I don't know enough to say that, but at least in the Big 12, I think those two are among the top duos, in the conference. And they're the types of guys that if you're talking about a close game and you need a stop, you need a turnover, they can come up with those types of plays. And I think for KU last season, what made the defense take that big step from being bottom of the conference to being I think they were fourth in total defense, it was the play of someone like Austin Booker off the edge, creating pressure, creating havoc. That was a huge deal for KU to put pressure on quarterbacks where they're in compromised positions. And they do have to make a split-second decision, and maybe they throw it to Melo or Kobe. And I think for KU's defense this year, the key really is going to be who steps up at that kind of rush end spot. And you look at the talent in the room. It's Bai Jobe, a former top 100 recruit. You got Dak Brinkley, a true freshman 4-star, Deshaun Warner, another true freshman, but the highest rated high school signee in Kansas history. Like there's plenty of talent in the room. It's just guys that haven't played a lot of football yet. So I think for KU, you look at the secondary, you look at safety, what they have in Marvin Grant, who's going to play a versatile role. He's someone that was kind of in Kenny Logan's shadow a little bit, but don't be mistaken. He's a really talented player. He started every game for Purdue during his last season there. I believe that would have been 2022. So, for this team, the secondary looks really good. The linebacking core, I think the top three are good. You wonder about the depth, but I think like how the offense, right, can Jalen Daniels be healthy? Well, I think for the defense, it's going to come down to, hey, can one of these super talented defensive ends come through and be that guy that can go create some havoc on third downs or just generic passing downs?
Michael, how much do you think they miss, and maybe that's not the right word because that means you're probably not having much success, but how different do you think life after Andy Kotelnicki will be as they make the switch to Jeff Grimes at OC?
I don't expect it to be too different. That's something that at least the messaging coming out of the program has been, this is not going to be a huge jump. And I think even if you look at just the basic principles of offense, Andy Kotelnicki and Jeff Grimes are not too dissimilar, right? Both want to run outside zone. They both would like to use the tight ends. They both really want to be physical football teams. I think for KU, kind of some of the differences might be, the option run game with Jalen was so potent, and having an athletic quarterback in Jason Bean, even if you didn't do a lot of option stuff, still offered a different dynamic. And I think losing this is going to get way inside football, but Matt Lubick was an analyst for KU. He's gone to Nevada. He's someone that was really important in establishing that quarterback run game. Well, now you've lost Lubick and Kotelnicki at the same time. So the question is, okay, is that quarterback run game still going to be there with Jeff Grimes? We're not sure yet, but I think something that Grimes is going to add is more of the screen game. That's not something Kansas did a lot of under Kotelnicki. I think some of the outside zone stuff that they're going to do, I think some of the jet motion stuff they're going to do might be a little bit different as well. So I think broadly the same principles of offense will be the same, but I think in terms of the individual play calls, adding some things, subtracting some things, I think there might be some tweaks. But look, if you're turning on a Kansas football game, I still think you're going to see the similar high potent offense that you've seen the last couple of years.
We had Coach Leipold on at Big 12 Media Days in Vegas. Really, really enjoyed the segment. And he kind of gives you that look like he's angry. And yet I've heard he's got a teddy bear type of a heart and at times. But he will – there are consequences when you don't do well. It is one of his biggest challenges for a program that we know, and I get tired of hearing about it, but for the longest of time they didn't win. And now all of a sudden they've had some success, and now the expectations are pretty good. Is that one of the challenges, is making sure they don't forget about how they got to last year?
Of course. I think that the challenge you run into with any program that is on the rise like KU's is. And I think I can use this as a comparison. So I covered Iowa State during that 2021 season when they had, Brock Purdy back, Breece Hall back, right? All this talent back. The sky was the limit. And it didn't really work out. And, you look at Matt Campbell, right? And past head coaching experience was good, but not national championships, not winning consistently. Well, I mean, you want to go look at Lance Leipold. They didn't lose a game at Wisconsin Whitewater for, I think, 2 years in a row. They won several national championships. I can't think of a coach that knows how to keep things ticking forward than Lance Leipold. And I think you see it, right, with the basketball program with Bill Self, right, where every year is a new year. Every year you're trying to reach a different new high. And I think at some point from the coach down, that resonates with the players, where if you continue to preach the same thing day in and day out, regardless of how good or bad your team is doing, that's how you breed some good habits. And I think for the head coaching position for Kansas, I can't think of a better person to try and do that than Leipold, who has done it and has done it consistently at other places. And I think now the program and the players in it have had success now. They know what it takes to win games. And just based on what the players are saying, it sounds like they're a group that still knows that they have not arrived yet and that they still have more to accomplish. And I think that is so huge. And it's such a cliche. And as a writer, you're never a fan of when coaches use cliches, but I think it's pretty accurate, right? You just got to attack every single day, take it one day at a time. And that's how you reach your best. You don't get too far in front of your skis. You don't look ahead and say, man, our schedule is really light, or man, we've got one of the best, offensive skill rooms maybe in the conference, one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. You look at it, how can I get better today? And I think that's the thing that Leipold has done a very good job of establishing in the KU program, where that's the mindset the players have. And I think that's how you see programs like Alabama or Georgia win on such a consistent level. It's because they take that same exact approach every day.
If Devin Neal was in a conference that didn't have Ollie Gordon and Taj Brooks, would he be the first team running back?
I think so. And look, I think the Taj Brooks thing is super interesting, right? You look at Devin being selected as the first team All Big 12 running back by the coaches. And nothing changed as far as I'm concerned over the last 5-6 months. So I think, he probably should have been on there over Taj, but again, probably a little bit of bias there, recovering Devin and seeing just how talented he is, not getting maybe as many touches as someone Taj got. But I think you're right. Like, look, the Big 12 straight up, I think, has the best talent of running backs maybe in the country. I haven't really looked into the SEC yet, but I know at least in the Big 10 and ACC, I think the Big 12 is stacked. I think it's really exciting to look at this conference and the offensive firepower you have at the running back spot, and to think that, someone like Devin isn't going to be a preseason All Big 12 guy. I think that just speaks volumes about how talented guys like Taj and Ollie are. And I think those two are going to have really good seasons, and I'm really fascinated to see how that end of season All Big 12 ballot looks, because that's going to really be a tough one to make as well.
Yeah, especially with 4 extra teams to try to sort through and learn about. And it's hard to know and get too in the weeds on every single team, right, Michael? But that's why we have guys like you on who do to get down there in terms of Kansas in particular. So my question for you is, what is more of a micro storyline that not most of the general public or people like ourselves are talking about when it comes to KU football that you find to be a very important storyline going on in camp and heading into the season?
Yeah, well, I think you look at Kansas, right? And I mean, you guys have followed Big 12 for long enough. You know what the Kansas offensive lines used to look like. Mm-hmm. 6'3" guys that are about 290, 285, right? Yeah. And then now you look at this offensive line, and you've got a former top 100 recruit, Texas A&M transfer, Bryce Foster, who I saw at camp today, and my God, the guy's massive. You see why he was able to start games as a true freshman in the SEC. Well, he's going to be KU center this year. And then you look at left tackle, and you lose Dominic Pooney to the NFL, but then all of a sudden it's Logan Brown, a former 5-star, who is going to most likely win the starting left tackle job. Well, he's 6'6", a little bit over 310, I want to say. Then you've got experienced guys like Michael Ford and Kobe Baines on the interior of the line. And at right tackle, there's Bryce Cabledew, who he's in his 3rd or 4th season of starting. So I think a storyline that might not get covered a lot because offensive lines aren't super sexy is the fact that this offensive line lost a multi-year starter in Mike Nowitzki and an NFL player in Dominic Pooney, and might actually still be really good. And I think for KU, the ability to be really physical in the trenches is how you become a more consistent football team when you're not having to rely on Jalen Daniels making splash plays through the air. It's when you're able to create holes for Devin Neal to use that talent. And I think that's something that, as a football nerd, I think is really interesting, looking at just the physical nature of an offensive line or defensive line. I think for KU, the fact that this offensive line lost what it did and could still be as good or maybe take even a step forward physicality-wise, I think is really important.
It's a great answer. Final thing for you, Michael. Obviously, they're going to be in a weird spot as far as a temporary home setting because of all of the good news that's happening as far as facilities and whatnot. With that in mind, the facilities and the expectations. I mean, I don't know how long you've covered KU at this point, but I don't think that you've gotten accustomed yet to them being, talked about as far as a Big 12 contender and favorite, but that's where they find themselves. So what's it like around Lawrence with football season around the corner right now? Is it as exciting maybe as you've seen it ever, perhaps?
Oh, most definitely. As long as I've been covering the team, and I started covering it back 2017, 2018-ish. So, it's been like today started camp. And for example, like you look at our website and the engagement is so much higher than it was last year or even the year before. Fans are really excited about this team. And I think everybody around the program in Lawrence and Kansas City, just any Kansas fan, I think recognizes the opportunity here, right? It's kind of a, supply-demand chart of great team, really experienced team meets light schedule. And so I think everybody understands what is, I wouldn't say at stake, but what the opportunity that lies in front of KU for this season. I think everyone's really excited, and it's going to be different having games, 2 games at Children's Mercy Park where the soccer team plays, Sporting Kansas City, and then obviously having 4 games at Arrowhead. That's going to feel different, but I think if anybody drives around Lawrence, right, I was there earlier today, and that stadium is coming along fast, and it looks really, really good. So I think there's just a lot of excitement around this KU program right now, and it's just such a different feel than 4+ years ago when you're talking about a team that didn't win a game under less miles. So it's crazy to think of how far things have come in such a short amount of time. I think it's why Leipold is proving to be, I think, just one of the best college football coaches in the country.
Michael, thank you. Appreciate you being a part of the show and also moving around a little bit from what we had originally. We'll be in touch again. Have a great day and appreciate your time.
All good, guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Michael Swain, Kansas 247 on the Jayhawks show. Quite the story with some dynamic playmakers, Jalen Daniels, obviously, but much more than that. And really, really enjoyed our conversation with Lance Leipold up in Vegas. And we hadn't had him on in a couple of years, and I just kind of like the way he goes about his business. We'll hear from Michael Grant, Southland Conference Commissioner, here momentarily. So they are low. Craig, what is the running back room's in great shape, obviously, with Daniels, too, who can run. So they got a chance to run for tons of yards this year. We're now joined by Michael Grant, Chris Grant, excuse me. Golly, Chris Grant. We just had Michael Swain. Chris Grant, who we've had on before, the Southland Conference Commissioner, joins us on 365 Sports. Chris, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So the Southland Conference took on some changes with as realignment affects everybody. And we'll get to your recent, I guess, media days and what you had down in San Antonio with the Coaches Association. But is it sometimes hard to keep up with the changes in college athletics?
Well, look, 2 years ago, you all had me on, and thanks for having me again. You thought I was crazy then when I said I would be able to build this league back. This would take a little elbow grease to do it. But I appreciate you all having faith in me at that time and allowing me to go to work and the membership as well. So, yes, it was hard to see through the forest, but one thing I knew is that I had to take care of our current student athletes and provide them a better tomorrow. And we've been able to do that despite, not only just kind of shining up our brand, right, with our total rebrand and things we've done there, but just going out and sticking to the basics, right? Just the common sense league, as we call it, a gas tank league, right? Why not play in more regional competitions so mom, dad, grandma, and can come watch you play? Is everything we talked about 2 years ago. And when you start taking that around and reminding folks that the overall mission is educating these young men and women to be great citizens of our country going forward, it's not hard because now they're going to be in the classroom and get the skill set they need to go forward. And what better 2 states to do it in Texas and Louisiana.
Chris, obviously there's a lot of changes in college football, legal things and house settlements and all that. And you guys are at the bottom rung of that and having to pay out some. How do you move going forward to make sure that, again, your athletes are taken care of and also that these things are fair to schools in the Southland Conference? And I know that the smaller conference is probably not wild about having to foot the bill for 90% of the athletes that they never saw.
No, hey, you definitely nailed it. I have a group of now 12 athletic directors that aren't thrilled about, the settlement and how it's being divvied up and what our responsibilities in that and paying a lion's share. We'll take a $3 million a year haircut and ultimately close to about $32 million overall, when it all comes said and done over the next 10 years. But at the same time, we're also realists and understand it's a common thread, right? When it's going is good, when it's going bad, hey, yes, we got to step up to the plate and take care of our share. And hey, at the same point in time, look, we're really the expectation doesn't change from what we're trying to do day to day. And again, empowering our student athletes, creating a championship environment, and giving them a platform to showcase their skills. And so, but to our big Power Four now, brethren, definitely thankful for again remaining as a part of the thread, as we call it, NCAA membership. And for the next 10 years, we'll all be banded together. And I like to think our potential all together is a lot greater than as if we had a divide between the two, or even three. The ones that a lot not being talked about is a group of five, and what they'll do. And so I think at least we have our playoff. When it comes to FCS in place, we understand what we're competing against. And quite frankly, we benefited from the transfer portal and having the access to talent that back 10 years ago we didn't. And so it's exciting times. Look, it's some of the still unknowns as the settlement just came out, as you alluded to. But, at the same point in time, we're just taking the bull by the horns, and we'll deal with it and handle it the best way we can.
Did you, I just want to clarify, you said like $3.4 million a year comes out of the conference revenue, and that's the overall over 10 years is 30-some million?
Yeah, that is correct. Over 10 years. That'll be our hit and share of it, which, look, when it's not apples to apples when you talk about, the SEC and the Big 12, but at the same point in time, we've benefited from these NCAA distributions, and those distributions have grown not only because of March Madness, but because of the strength of us being all together with the Power Four, Power Five at that time.
Chris, in an era where a lot of the Power Four is going beyond what was its previously recognized borders to an extreme extent in the case of Cal being in the ACC, for example, there is some regionality that was always a part of college football's fabric that people love, and I think they're starting to miss to some certain extent, and maybe we'll miss even more in the years to come. I feel like the Sun Belt had a real bullseye on that in terms of their regionality and maintaining that. How much do you feel like your regionality is a strength of your conference at this point?
Hey, I think we're bar none number one when it comes to all 31 conferences now and what that looks like, in a sense that we're special, right? With all the changes that have happened, not only college football, all this realignment, as you alluded to, our league, the Southland Conference, continues to be a league where fans and family, they can drive the games, right? That's why we call it the Gas Tank League, GTL, because, look, you stop at Buc-ee's, you stop at Pilot, whatever your preferred gas tank is, and then, look, come to the games. And it shouldn't take more than that. Now, we added UTRGV in, so I'll recommend it from UTRGV to New Orleans. You might want to catch on that Southwest or American flight, but they're all accessible. You're not spending more than an hour on a plane. But then it's twofold, because now our student athletes, they're not going over to the West Coast. They're not going all the way to the East Coast. They're playing here all in one time zone, the Central Time Zone. And not many can say that. I think we might be one of two that can say that right now. And that's exciting for me. And it's exciting for our student athletes to be able to get their degrees and, again, be able to play in front of their fans, family and friends.
By the way, Chris Grant, commissioner of the Southland Conference, with us on 365 Sports. Right now in Paris, what are there, 6 athletes from within the Southland Conference that one of them from my alma mater, Walkup, the basketball player who's a part of the team in Greece, but 2 from the United States, Ghana, Greece, Paraguay, and Ukraine. That's a nice representation for your conference.
That's awesome representation. And it goes to what our coaches are able to recruit in the Southland footprint, as well as the exposure we get internationally. And then now, think about Walkup. I saw the other day, he's throwing oops to Giannis, right? That's not every day. That's a dream. And so, he's a bona fide baller, and that being an SFA grad. And it's just exciting to see the smiles on their faces, especially being a part of the Olympic Village. And, I think big miss me not being there. But as you all mentioned, things are so crazy in college athletics. It's almost, hey, it's your death wish if you take a day off and miss the beat or something. But, definitely watching here, tuned in. I love all the coverage, and we're cheering them on for here, and I can't wait to celebrate them when they return.
What's it like to all of a sudden start cheering for someone from another country? Because
exactly. Hey, it's better than I be against USA. I'm not trying to create that divide. Look, we're faithful Americans in the Southland Conference, but at the same point in time, look, those student athletes benefit a lot from what we're able to provide. That maybe they're not seeking, they're not getting in their own countries, but coming here, they're able to get that education on American turf. But yeah, it is a tough. You got to draw at it, but luckily, just yet, I'm not excited if Greece goes against the USA men's basketball squad, or vice versa. So we'll see what happens there.
So there's a reason why on one of the opening nights of the Texas High School Coaches Association convention in San Antonio, that every football coach from a program in the state of Texas is represented. Pretty much every at the levels of the FBS and FCS, among others, and obviously from the schools that are there to also get to know the high school coaches, which is the bread and butter, as you mentioned, when it comes to recruiting. But you now have a partnership, is that correct, with the Texas High School Coaches Association? What does that mean for your conference?
We could not have done a more tremendous job of securing such a phenomenal and impactful partnership with THSCA. I'm thankful for Joe Martin being the leader of that group there, and the product they have. They have a membership of over 20,000 high school coaches. Definitely the largest in our country, and probably the largest in the world when you talk about a high school thread of coaches. But what their mission is the improvement of coaching and the improvement of major sports in all phases. So once I got a hold of that last year, and Joe and I had dinner back in February, and he's like, well, it's no brainer, let's partner. And with it being in San Antonio within our footprint, one thing for me is important is to show Texas love, right? We've done a lot in Louisiana as we built this league back, and Louisiana has been a great partner of ours in all of our institutions. But we hadn't really showed a lot of love back to Texas, where we're based right out of Frisco, Texas. So an opportunity to go down to San Antonio, not only partner with them, but give our coaches from Louisiana exposure in that market. So now, look, it's not a tough conversation when a certain kid's looking to transfer, or you're trying to get into the living room with mom and dad. You should be able to pick up the phone with some of the relationships you built, or have that common thread and say, hey, I was in San Antonio with you, and I was participating in this session, or I led this session. So our coaches actually welcomed it. At first, they were kind of optimistic because our Louisiana coaches love recruiting Louisiana too. But at the same point, they understood what it meant not only to take our stake of the footprint and really let people know where the Southland is located and what we're all about and where we're going. So kind of an unparalleled and a phenomenal opportunity that no one has ever done in the history of college athletics. So I like to be first, and our membership likes to be first. But it was very productive for us to partner with them. We got an opportunity to work with San Antonio sports there, as well as the Alamo Bowl. And you all know we don't have bowl games yet at FCS. But what an opportunity to present to our student athletes. We had barbers there, getting them all dappered up before the actual media day itself. The content car wash, where our team led by James Hill just did a phenomenal job. And, Breon Dennis brought forth the San Antonio Sports Commission and allowing them to partner with us. So, UIW stepped up. So it was great. And one thing that came about that we haven't talked about a lot of is we got a partnership with the AEW.
Yep.
And so we now have a championship wrestling belt with Southland logos all about. And so our student athletes, they ate that up. And, then we actually did the debut of college football the college football, the EA Sports game of that coming back to life. So now all of our teams are on there because they didn't include us, but we weren't going to be left out. And James Hill made a part of that. So it was just a big party overall for not only our membership, but our coaches and our student athletes had a phenomenal time. And I just couldn't be more thankful to Joe and the Texas High School Coaches Association.
Well, we're all paying attention, but when you mention AEW, Craig just that's down his pipeline right there when it comes to that.
Love it. Great move. Great move.
Right? No, it's awesome. So we got to get you up here to Arlington. We'll go over and get in the ring together. I'll let you toss me up off the top rope or something.
I would love to do that. Yeah, I would love to do that. I'll take you up on that.
That would be awesome.
Chris, what is week to week is it harder during basketball or football season for you to get everywhere that you want to be?
It's football because it's dedicated, right? You only get so many hours, and then you try to leave a game, but you can't because it's compelling, and so getting around. I don't have the Brett Yarmark or Greg Sankey helicopter going around either. They can jump on it and catch game to game. And so, and for us, it's important that we try to play opposite of whatever the big brand is. From the LSU to UT or Texas A&M or Baylor. Let's leave them out. And so, with all that, it makes it a little tougher to be everywhere in football. But with our ESPN partnership, at least everything now for the last 2 years since I've been here, everything that we put up, or as far as football and men's basketball and women's basketball, all on ESPN Plus. So you're not missing a beat because you have your phones. And to be quite frank, how many of us are really sitting home in front of the TV watching content nowadays? So that's been a great addition for us as a conference. And, it's just you hate missing that one highlight live when it comes about. But, I tell you, the best thing is the culture. And so you try to leave Louisiana or Texas tailgate, early. And I probably would lose about 30 pounds if I was able to. But they get a hold of you with that gumbo or the brisket, you name it. We have some of the best food and celebrations that there are in the South.
All right, I got to ask you. You brought up Sankey. He started at one point, was the commissioner of the Southland Conference, and now we know he runs the SEC. If he walked up to you or you walked up to him, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, would he listen to you with some of what you have to say? Does he care about what schools in the FCS or others are doing?
I see. I'm glad you mentioned that. So we actually get together as commissioners 3 times a year, as all 31, I should say. And the Pac-12 still attend, so I should say 32. But Greg and I and his wife sat down back in June in Naples, where we all met. And, at that time, it was everything going towards a route of not holding the settlement up between it. And so, because, look, this is what's right. We needed to move forward as an organization. And, unfortunately, we don't have a seat at the table during those negotiations and what that looked like. But we have to trust that Greg, Brett, Jim, Keepar and Tony of the Big Ten have our best interests in mind. So we actually did a sit down over dinner and we talked about it. And one of our schools, Houston Christian, they pursued, a lawsuit against the NCAA and the way the settlement was divvied up. And so, it was for me to be transparent and kind of what they were communicating in that. And that it wasn't our idea to cripple this or, not let the settlement go through, but we were just asking for more transparency overall. And Houston Christian didn't speak for our entire league, but it was important for me to have that conversation with Greg. And, and that's his thing. He never wants to see this go away, but he has the interest now. He has 16 presidents that are saying, hey, NCAA is not doing this right. We're being, decision-making is being made by, Southland colleagues, but we're actually investing in quadruple the amount on you name the sport. So why is that? And so, but Greg having that foundation here in the Southland and, and making his mark as a commissioner, he truly understands, the common thread, what it means to stay together, and especially when it comes to March Madness, that, it's fun to watch them play each other, but people truly want to see the David First Glass stories and, and now you add the gambling aspect to it. And so it's important to him that we just operate transparently and have those conversations that are going to be tough. And look, I'm not getting everything I want out of it, and he's not getting everything he wants out of it. And goes on for the Big 12 and the ACC too when it comes to CFP negotiations. So having that understanding and having those has brought us all closer, so to speak. And look, we still don't like the pill we have to swallow, but we have to come together to figure out, okay, how do we make up that gap in revenue, and then how we continue to make this the best place for, for amateur as well. I shouldn't say amateurism anymore because that revenue share is totally beyond that. But for the next, this new age of student athlete and what that looks like to protect us.
All right. What I do appreciate about what you're doing, my alma mater, SFA, is a part of the Southland again, which is great, but also the fact that while everything else is now regionalization, as we brought up earlier in the segment, is out the door with Cal and Stanford in the ACC. It's great that you have that regionality with Louisiana and also the state of Texas. Chris, a lot of people in the chat room impressed with you. Thanks to Rob Shickley and Tony Fay Productions for getting you on with us. And let's do this again. We appreciate your time. Always enjoy it.
No, thanks for having me back. Hey, can we not wait 2 years? Can I come back next year, please?
No.
How about football season? Let's talk Southland football when we start.
We will absolutely get you back on. I promise you. Done. Thank you very much. I didn't know.
I'll send you an SFA T-shirt for that.
There you go. Thank you very much. Well, I'll take a large. I had not realized it was 2 years, but it has been. So thanks to Chris. Kim Coulter said, I believe I saw this in the chat. He said,
Super Chat.
The super chat he just had, but he also, this is a guy that, depending on what happens with the future commissioner search, if that happens in the Big 12, that at least needs to be someone that is interviewed as a candidate for the job, whether it's the Big 12 or somewhere else. He seems to get it, and I like his style.
The arrow's pointed up for Chris Grant, that's for sure.
Yep. All right. When we come back, Baylor quarterback Dequan Finn, who is doing something really special with his offensive linemen and teammates today. We'll share what that is. We'll have him on the show. And this is 365 Sports. TexasBeefHouse.com. Next week, they will have yet another online live auction. In fact, I reached out to Samantha Duvall earlier today. I said, Samantha, okay, I want to buy some Wagyu ribeyes. And everything they have that is steak-related is set up for the 2 auctions they're going to have in the month of August. So TexasBeefHouse.com has some bundles, and they have product available if you contact them on the site. But they have a live auction just around the corner. And, of course, these things have been incredibly popular. August 7th and 8th, you can go to TexasBeefHouse.com for more information. And a box pops up that also takes you to Bid on Beef. And when you click on that link, it will show you the catalog of what they will have available. There's a brochure that you can click on, and they will start to tell you all of the information. There's some pictures, like just a lot one. Wagyu sirloin cap steaks. Wagyu sirloin cap steaks across the top. 4 beautiful pictures. In fact, a couple of rows. Angus sirloin cap steaks. Wagyu short ribs. There is the marbling that you want and expect from TexasBeefHouse.com, and the marbling you expect as well from what the Duvall family has done. You can order online, but if you want to buy steaks this month, or in August the 7th and 8th is the next live online auction. And don't forget, please don't forget to always include Sikkim. What used to be Sikkim 10 is now 365 Sports. You get 10% off any order of $100 or more. They will ship product to anywhere among the contiguous 48 states. The next live auction, the 7th and 8th next week at TexasBeefHouse.com.
There are 26 letters in the alphabet, over 600,000 words in the dictionary, and just 3 of them said together can change everything. Let's order pizza. Those 3 words lead to dough made from scratch and 3 fresh signature cheeses that blanket golden crust in a heavenly melt on Marco's Pizza that'll blow your mind. So visit Marcos.com to order and stop by Marco's Pizza in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Let the journey to financial brilliance begin with Genco's limited time offers. Max your earnings with a Kasasa cash account and get paid monthly with a 4.25 APY. That's $425 annually. Then invest in a 13-month share certificate and earn 4.9 APY. That's $529. Earn cash and outshine the rest. At Genco, we offer you the sun and the moon. Kasasa based on average daily balance of $10,000. Certificate based on $10,000 investment. See GencoFCU.org for details. NCUA.
Pizza, burgers, and Bears football. There's no place around Waco that serves them all other than Bubba's 33. Come show your green and gold and enjoy some of Waco's best food and beverages while watching your favorite team, the Bears. When real Bears fans get hungry, Bubba's 33 is the #1 spot for ice-cold drinks, hand-stretched, stone-baked pizzas, and bacon-infused burgers. Join us for indoor or patio dining. Bubba's 33, Waco's restaurant and proud supporter of Baylor Bears football. Sick 'em, Bears.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine now has 2 locations to serve you. The original on Lakeshore Drive in North 19th Street and the brand new spot in downtown Waco at 600 Franklin Avenue. If you're looking for the best in craft beers or local Texas bourbons, then the original is the place to be. And for the latest trends and online phenomenons, head downtown to the Franklin location. Either way, you're going to get the same great variety, customer service, and speedy experience. Check out both locations on their Facebook and Instagram pages. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive in North 19th Street, and now downtown on Franklin Avenue.
Want to send a message to the show? Jump in the Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue chat room. .365 Sports, Garrett Ross running the mothership, Jack McKenzie here. Emory Winter
as always, is already working on what we have as far as segments for 365 Sports Tonight, which is every weeknight at 10:30 on the CW. We have some pretty good news. We're going to hear from Dequan Finn, Baylor quarterback, here in just a moment. We have 3 beer sponsors that will join us effective immediately. I guess it will be Thursday, August the 1st. Thanks to Gary Holcomb and Benny Keith Distribution. We have Michelob Ultra, Busch Light, and Bud Light will join us as sponsors effective August the 1st, along with a hydration drink called Ghost Hydration, which is non-caffeine, got some good stuff in it. I'm going to get a case of it to me, and then I'll start drinking it and then pass it along to staff, and we'll give you, Paul, it says it's going to voicemail.
Oh. I didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
So, congratulations to us, and also you, the audience. We will have the distribution, Benny Keith, thanks to Gary Holcomb, Michelob Ultra, Busch Light, Bud Light, as sponsors of our football season effective on August the 1st. So there we are with that.
I was getting a lot of spam while I was in Nashville, so I turned that off. So he can call me back now.
Well,
but it says no caller ID when he calls me.
Call back again.
There we go. Got it.
Okay. I like what the comments we had about Chris Grant in the chat room. We appreciate those of you who listened and also were engaged to what he was saying inside of that chat room in our interview with 365 Sports. We're now joined by Baylor quarterback Dequan Finn, who is doing some pretty good stuff today. Always does something pretty good, but a really good day today with his offensive linemen and teammates as he joins us at City Ranch Boot Company off 185, I believe, in China Spring. Dequan, first of all, thanks for your time on 365 Sports. What's the feeling from you and your teammates, not yet with today's event, but the fact that you open up fall practice tomorrow?
Yeah, I also wanted to say thanks for having me. Everyone excited, anticipation after this upcoming season, and expectations, through the roof. So everybody's looking forward to a great fall camp.
What has been learning this new offense been like for you under Jake Spavital?
It's been real fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's been real fun. Just picking his brain, just seeing the ins and outs through his his offense, just asking those type of questions, and just really just talking ball with him and just embracing the moment while I'm here. So it's been fun.
Dequan, what's been the most challenging aspect of just this offseason for you? Maybe it's something you did physically, mentally, but what have you, found yourself doing as far as pushing yourself and challenging yourself?
Yeah, well, first I had to say I had to get acclimated to the weather down here.
Yeah,
first,
right.
Yeah, yeah, that was kind of like my main thing because being from up north and coming all the way down south to Texas is a way different. It's a different climate that people think rather than but
it's not just hot.
That yeah, and it's real humid too. But I'll say that's probably the only thing for everything else is smooth. So.
Well, has anybody told you that it's actually been pretty okay versus like last summer it was way worse? Has anybody told you oh man, you have no idea it's actually worse than this most of the time?
Yeah. Actually, some of my teammates have been telling me it's been hotter than this before. I'm like, oh wow, I can't. Yeah, they can hold on to that, but I've been hearing some stories. So.
Well, it has been cooler, but it's now full throttle hot as we get to this week in Texas. How comfortable was the transition from where you were at Toledo and from Michigan originally, where you grew up? How comfortable was it to move here and kind of fit in with the program?
I've been real comfortable with everyone, and just like you said, just just accommodating myself into Baylor's program, and just really trying to buy earn the guys' trust from the players to the coach and so forth. So I mean, it's been real good. The players welcome me with open arms, and after that, it's just been genuine vibes with everyone. We've been closer ever since January. The team and the bond has just been closer and closer. And I'm just really thankful and appreciative for the guys, and like I said, just welcoming me with open arms, and just really taking me in, and really calling me, one of their own brothers. So it's been good.
We're going to get back to football in a moment, but tell everybody what you're doing today. I know you're at City Ranch Boot Company with Jay Kelly, a former Baylor football player. He's had a couple of sons that have played there, and what you're doing for some teammates.
Yes, sir. So we up here, and I'm just really taking the guys out. My old linemen out. Just a day for us to just kick back and relax and just enjoy each other's company and stuff like that. And I took them to City Ranch Boots Company, and just getting them all sized up for some cowboy boots. So, I got some guys from down here from Texas, so I just want to return that favor.
Are you going to rock some boots yourself?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now these are alligator. This is choosing between alligator, elephant, and crocodile, right? The leather.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep.
And what about the boots? Now, you got some dudes now. Offensive linemen are not guys like 5'10", like 190. So these are some dudes now. How much fun are they having right now trying to get those things fit in the style that they want?
Yeah, as soon as I, seen their faces, they were just lit up with smiles and stuff like that. With, you just see the, excitement and stuff like that from the guys. So, it's cool just seeing them smile and stuff like that, and just relieving a lot of stress off of their plate. So it's good seeing them.
It's one of the coolest gifts, I think. We've seen guys use the NIL or whatever for teammates or whatever, but where did this? Was this an idea just from you listening to what they were saying, or something that others said, hey, by the way, this would be a heck of a unique gift?
Yeah, I just thought it would be just something different. Like I said, most of my guys are from out here.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to, just cater to them a little bit. Just tell them that I'm thinking about them, let them know I'm thinking about them and stuff like that. So just so we can get before fall camp and stuff like that, just let them know I'm thinking about them, and just doing something nice for them.
I want to get to some nuts and bolts about your athleticism compared to, so people can get to know, because they haven't really got to see you yet. There was no spring game, so this is going to be all new for them, other than going back and watching old tape from Toledo. But would you be a candidate for fastest guy on the team?
My teammates will agree. But I'm confident, yeah. So I'll say so. Yeah.
So it's not just throwing the ball. I mean, we know you can run, but I was just trying to give people an idea of how much you like to boogie. What do you like to prepare? What do you like to do more? Do you like to throw it or run it more?
Obviously, I like to throw it more because I play quarterback. But yeah, the more I can throw, the better off it would be. So.
Dequan, how much chemistry do you feel with this team right now? Just having had the process, getting to know your teammates, you guys being on the verge of starting fall practices. What does it feel like just amongst the team, the camaraderie and the excitement level as you guys get started?
Yeah, like I said, the team chemistry is real good. Like I said, since January, I could just see, growth from January to now. It's like tremendous growth, and I just say everybody's real close with each other, and everybody's excited, and, we got a chip on our shoulder. A lot of people may not know, but, this team is hungry, and you could just tell by the work ethic, each day in and day out that you see guys putting in extra work and stuff like that. So this team is real close, but also I'm just letting everybody know this team has got a chip on the shoulder. So it's a whole different Baylor team right now.
Yeah, it's been a couple of tough years, and last year was it just seemed like it was not good at all, and that was part of the selling point for you, right? That you could come down and give them a spark. Sawyer Robertson obviously involved in the competition as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the end goal is to make sure that we set ourselves to a higher standard. So Big 12 championship, that's what we're looking for right now, and that's all we're looking at.
This segment, by the way, brought to you by Richard Carr Motors, Baylor Bear Hotline, with a Baylor player and Dequan Finn, the quarterback, as they're on the eve of starting their fall workouts tomorrow.
Dequan, how much, let's go prove something and shake off last year is on this team right now? Do you feel that? Or do you not really think about that? Is it just a brand new start?
Yeah, last year was last year. You know, we completely turned the page. 2023, now it's 2024 Baylor football team. You know, and this team is way different from last year's team. You know? So, like I said, we got a chip on our shoulder, and we just tell like, everyone's hungry and we're ready to work.
Other than just the obvious of what goes on, which is really hard work, strength and conditioning, a lot of mental work that goes with that too, is there a moment really since you arrived on campus where you saw that this team did turn the corner and that maybe was a camaraderie thing or something that you knew, man, this is going to be different?
Yeah, I'd say I want to say it was winter workout. You know, you just tell like, you know, the demeanor is kind of different, and you know, our strength coach, Coach Vic and Coach Matt, they do a good job of, you know, just telling us the real. You know, I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing, and that's one thing I appreciate our coach, our staff doing is giving us the real. And right after we had that talk, everybody just kind of, you know, had to like look in the mirror and just tell ourselves the truth, really. And that at that point, I feel though that was really a turning point to, you know, the team getting real closer and you know, more focused out there, more dialed in. So.
Dequan Finn has teammates, offensive linemen at City Ranch Boots Company off 185 in China Spring with Jay Kelly, former Baylor football player who played back in the 80s. So how many offensive linemen are there with you?
We have 5 right now. One of my old linemen, he's still, you know, gone with his family and stuff like that.
So which one are you going to do, alligator, elephant, or crocodile leather?
I might just go even more exclusive. I might just go shark leather. You know, you don't hear too many people with shark leather and cowboy boots, so I might just go with that.
And they're all going to be personalized, and there's also a BU logo on the boots. Is that right?
However my O-line want their you know, however they want their boots made, it's totally up to them.
What's it like to give?
That is a choice.
Yeah. What's it like to give back?
It's good. You know, just you know, it's bigger than me. You know, and I never want to make it all about me. You know, it's bigger than me. And one thing I feel as though that could have, you know, just benefited like everyone will be obviously my offensive linemen, because they are, you know, the most important guys on the field. You know, and I gotta, you know, as a quarterback, you gotta take care of your whole line. So I feel as though just doing this is, you know, I feel as though a great source of gratitude. So.
Hey, thank you very much. First of all, congratulations on what you're doing, the accomplishments you have, and then really also taking care of your teammates. Good luck with practices starting tomorrow. The competition, of course, is there at quarterback, but you didn't come from Toledo to Baylor to not play, right, to not be the starter. Has anything else been said from the coaching staff about that?
No. Like I said, I'm not really, you know, I'm got tunnel vision right now, so I'm really not, you know, too much worried about, you know, the extracurricular. I'm just focused on, you know, ball and what I can do to help the team, you know, win. So.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Dequan. We'll see you at practice tomorrow. Thanks for your time. Enjoy what you're doing. Tell Jay Kelly, 365 Sports, said hello to him. I see him at the gym in the morning. Thanks for your time.
All right, thanks for having me.
Dequan Finn, Baylor quarterback. We did that stat, what was it, Friday, Garrett, when the top 10 fastest players based on the sensors inside the uniform, and he was like 6. I think that's where he was. And then he brought up, where would Monterey Baldwin been? And, of course, they have all these things recorded throughout the athletic department, strength and conditioning, but he can flat out go.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope, is that he's able to do some magical things with the ball in his hands. And as he said, he plays quarterback, so he likes to throw the ball around. And, yeah, I think as he kind of had the comment there, I try not to talk over him too much, but, you know, if he's throwing the ball around pretty well, it probably means really good things for Baylor, because you feel great about him running the football. The throwing is the more of a question of the two, and he's not I think what you would categorize as like a classic elite passer. So there's some things there that he can certainly sling it around, but I think there's questions about to what extent, right? I think you feel great about his running ability. If you haven't watched him play a ton, you probably are a little bit more curious about his passing, but you want it both. You want it all, and that's why they went and got him, was to give themselves a dual threat, somebody who could air it out when need be, and somebody who could take off and run with it when need be. And so that's an exciting combination that I think a lot of fans are looking forward to for Baylor this season, and hopefully one of those things that sparks some of the excitement and the energy that trickles out throughout the rest of the team and gives them the boost that they so desperately need at that position and offensively as well.
So Dequan Finn, thanks to Tim Younger, also Jay Kelly, City Ranch Boots. By the way, I got a couple of pictures. You can't put a text up on there, can you, Garrett?
No.
Okay, he said he sent you some pictures of the business to your email, the Gmail. We could always put a couple of those up in the next segment. We have an open segment in the next segment when we come back. And then at 4:45, Craig Smoking Off the Radar. 5 o'clock hour, we are packed. UAB quarterback Jacob Zeno, Baylor's Nikki Collen, Hall of Famer John McClain, and Paul's Top 5. And this is 365 Sports. Pioneer Still in Pipe, just east of I-35 in Waco on Highway 6 in Loop 340, where you need something, product to build something, they have it. Pipe, steel, and metal. Their distribution, which has always been good. Back even when they had the older, long-term facility that was opened up in 1943, they would get what you needed to you and do it quickly. But now they have even more distribution bays to get it inside your pickup truck if it's smaller, or even if it's an 18-wheeler, hauler, whatever it might be. And the family, generation after generation of keeping what a handshake means and also making sure the product is what you need to build. Buildings, real estate, commercial, and more. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with pipe, steel, and metal. I get on the site at pioneerboys.com and look at some of the pictures of what metal buildings now look like. They are gorgeous, and people are putting them up all of the time. If you want pipe, steel, metal, you need pipe, steel, metal. You need what it takes to build something. Pioneer Steel and Pipe, just to the east of I-35 on Loop 340 and also Highway 84 at pioneerboys.com.
Make this the summer event at Allen Samuels. Drive the all-new 2024 Grand Cherokee 4XE or Wrangler 4XE today. Lease payments start at just $589 a month or finance for 2.9% for 84 months. Experience legendary Jeep performance with cutting-edge hybrid technology. Hurry, only at Allen Samuels in Waco. See dealer for details.
Come by, let's be friends.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
TFNB Your Bank for Life is the official local bank of Baylor Athletics.
Find out why more Central Texans are making TFNB their bank for life. Sign up for our Edge checking and savings accounts to earn interest or cash back. With 5 convenient locations and an award-winning mobile app, banking has never been easier. TFNB, your bank for life. Member FDIC.
Ready to take your business to the next level? Carrion Solutions has got you covered. We deliver world-class IT consulting, including Quest On Demand and Migration Manager, M365 and Exchange migrations, Active Directory assessments, security hardening, and Windows Server upgrades. Our experts specialize in consulting, monitoring, support, and managed IT services. We promise vision, professionalism, and unbeatable value. Satisfaction guaranteed. If you're not happy, we make it right. Remember the name Carrion Solutions. For more info, email sales@carrionsolutions.com or visit carrionsolutions.com. That's CARRION solutions.com. Carrion Solutions IT success guaranteed.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Got a unique story that I saw. Danny Davis writes for the Austin American-Statesman. We have a couple of pictures of the City Ranch Boot Company with the players, and Dequan Finn. We'll put up a couple of those in just a second. But Nick Sanders, Texas baseball player, Danny Davis with this note, added to the football team as a 6'2", 215-pound running back. As a freshman catcher and DH out of Waco, he went to University High. He appeared in 9 games this past baseball season. So Dylan Chapman, who's a great friend of ours, was an intern when we were at the radio station, is the baseball coach at University High. I text Dylan. I said, so tell me about Nick Sanders. He called me this morning, this was yesterday, and told me he's very excited, said he met with Sarkisian a few times over the last couple of weeks. And then I said, did he play football in high school? He did his 9th, 10th, and 11th grade years. He went straight baseball his senior year to get ready for UT, did not want to get hurt entering college to play. He was at La Vega, which is a great football program, his 10th and 11th grade years, came back to university during my first year as head coach. So Nick Sanders, 6'2", 215, must be a hell of an athlete that Texas coaching staff reached out to him.
Yeah, that's a really cool story, and I got a little two-sport athlete going on there. I'm a big fan of the two-sport athlete. I wish we saw it more. I miss it. I think it's something that people can certainly pull off, but I know it's harder and harder in today's college athletics, but it was done before. People can do it again. So good luck to Nick Sanders, University High grad, in doing that. And every single time I've hung out with Dylan, it's been a great day, except for the day that a lady thought that he was my son, and that's when I realized I didn't look like I was in my 20s anymore.
Wait, he's not your son?
He's definitely not.
Oh, I thought... That's
definitely
this
not.
Entire time I've
He's an academic all-star when he was a high school senior at University High. That's a neat story, and that's 6'2", 215 now. Again, football, baseball, different, but they must see something. And you wonder, what does that mean about the depth chart they have at Texas at running back, because normally they are as thick and loaded as you could possibly be.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to know more of the backstory as to how it all came about. Did Steve Sarkisian say, hey, we need some running backs, let's go looking across campus, or did Nick Sanders just, mention something to somebody and they mentioned something, and next thing you know, hey, there's this guy who played high school football, who plays baseball here, who's got good size and is athletic, maybe he can help you guys out. I don't think that they have a pressing need at running back. I think that they are pretty well loaded there. Now, I haven't gone and looked at their depth chart in a while. Maybe I'm missing something, but you got the likes of, C.J. Baxter, one of the big names that's coming back, Jaden Blue. So, I don't know what precipitated this, but very cool for Nick Sanders. And if he gets to see the field, even better. And what a great story, regardless. And to be able to play football for UT after playing baseball for UT is not something that a lot of guys can say. So, that's a great deal for him, and hopefully it's not the last time that we're talking about him because he finds his way into a game this year or something. That'd be awesome.
That's one of the things about the settlement, that he's not – I don't know if he's considered a walk-on because he's a scholarship baseball player, But that's one of the things that some of the coaches aren't so sure they like, the idea of capping the roster at 105 as far as scholarships, and the fact that the walk-on, so to speak, might not be out the window, but it won't be quite what it has been. I still can't imagine there won't be 25 walk-ons on every program.
Well, if the roster is capped at 105 and all those guys are on scholarship, then if they've had 85 scholarships before, then they have 20 more scholarships. So that goes either one of two ways. All those guys are scholarship-level athletes that you go and get, or they're 20 guys who would have been walk-ons in the first place.
Yeah.
So I get that you're going to have less because you have less roster space and there'll be less walk-ons. But also, if those guys want to play football, there's now 20 more scholarships available for them other places that there weren't before. So to me, I get the worry about it from coaches and what they've been used to, but I feel like the math will work out here in the long run once they get it figured out. I'm kind of confused about the worry about it.
I think football coaches worry about everything they don't get to determine and have control over. So everything's like, oh, that's the worst idea ever. It's like we need 100. Yeah, you were just given how many is it?
105 scholarships.
So
20 more.
20 more. You're just given 20 more scholarships to go use however you want to. And it's like, well, but we don't have those 30 extra walk-ons. Like, yeah, I'm with you. I don't know what the big deal is. And I'm sure there's something that I'm missing there. I'll fully acknowledge in the other sports. I said this the other day. I'm fascinated to know how the scholarship breakdowns work. Like how in baseball, how much of a difference that makes for a team versus the way that it has been. And I think certainly some of the better programs, particularly in the SEC, stand to benefit greatly from baseball scholarships in particular. But, I mean, across the board, I just wonder what kind of an environment it creates when suddenly you do have a lot more room to hoard or stow away or add on scholarship athletes that otherwise would have had to have gone elsewhere. That's going to be really interesting, especially when you're talking about a sport that doesn't have quick access to see the field. Like if you're in baseball, you're like the 35th scholarship guy. Like how often are you playing? You know what I mean? So I just wonder how some of those things are going to go. But with football, yeah, I need to hear and see more, I guess, on what the big concern is outside of just not having those 30 extra quote-unquote walk-ons to use as special teams guys or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I'm confused myself on why there's I guess some level of concern about the way it's going to be doled out nowadays.
Well, they'll figure it out, and who knows, it might change as far as what's available. But I can't imagine like walk-ons are eliminated. But you think about it, and I use Tech as an example. When they did their NIL initially, everybody got an X amount of money, and then like 25 or 30 walk-ons got that money too. Yeah. So it's almost as if they're put on scholarship this way. How they do it legally or rules-wise, I don't know.
That is not quite a scholarship at Texas Tech, $25K, but it's definitely more than most every other walk-on in America was getting at the time when they decided to do that. It was a very smart move. It's a very prudent move, and I think one that probably others followed in the footsteps of. But, yeah, I mean, if you're going to entice – and let's face it, it wasn't to just reward the guys who have been there, like the kid from Muleshoe. Like, yeah, I'm sure part of it's like, hey, it's cool, he's from here, and let's reward him with $25K because he's never going to be a scholarship athlete here. But I think it was mostly a tool to, like, we've only got so many scholarships. How can we get more talent here? We can pay them under the guise of it being a walk-on and help foot the bill to get them to play here. And so that was a workaround as much as anything, and now you don't need that workaround. So I think it should be beneficial. But, again, like, how does that spread out the talent? That's what I think the curious thing is going to be. Because do you have this just glob of players who aren't seeing the field at, like, Georgia because now there's 20 extra, scholarship guys, and then those guys are all bolting in the portal after I don't know. It's going to be really interesting because we haven't seen it like this set up before.
Well,
so
here's the other thing that's weird to me about complaining because, and look, everybody else, and you guys I know talked about it the other day with the amount of, like, baseball, tripled their scholarships and all these.
And that's what I mean about stowing away guys.
Like,
yeah,
it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. All this stuff of all the talk of the House on how it affects football, how it affects the other sports is magnificent because, all that's great. And football could have suffered here because there could have been, all right, if we're going to give 34 scholarships to baseball, which is what they're doing now, then we have to take some away from other places, and we're going to take 10 away from football because, look, you guys don't use all 85 players. We're going to give you a 75-player scholarship limit. You're going to pay them all. It's going to save money. But no, football won, too. Their rosters expanded and their scholarships expanded. Or the rosters shrunk, but their scholarships expanded. So to me, that sounds like kind of a no-lose deal on their part, other than 20 guys who were never going to see the field in the first place.
Well, it'll be interesting when we get Mac Rhodes on. He has not been on with us, and it's been a couple of months, but we'll get him on to discuss. Somebody has to manage all of these changes and all of these additions. Somebody in the athletic department, they'll have like an NIL general manager, David Kay, and they'll have others that like a salary cap, revenue sharing. They'll be fine, believe me. Now the question is going to be, once the first year or two go by, what have they learned from that? What can they do better, or what could they do less?
Yeah, I don't think the fans or anybody needs to worry about how they are going to handle all that. I think they'll be just fine. I think they've, at least in Baylor's case, have a good setup right now with the way their front office, so to speak, is organized. So I think they'll be okay there. But, there's definitely questions coming from this. The Title IX implications. What do you do if you decide to go full max on football scholarships? How much does that mean you're also then having to up on volleyball and women's golf and women's tennis and, whatever other sports that might be? I know there's a lot of questions surrounding that right now. So, there's some details. It's not just go offer 105 guys scholarships and then that's all there is to it. There's more nuance, but that's why folks get paid to figure that stuff out, and I'm sure Baylor will find some smart people if they haven't already, and so will Texas and A&M and Michigan and everybody else, and they'll figure it out. But I do think it's going to take a year or two, just like every other major change that's occurred. Not everybody understood the transfer portal right away. Not everybody understood NIL right away, and so this scholarship distribution is probably something else that's going to take a little while to figure out for some, and I'm interested to know what that looks like on the other side, because I don't know. I do know it's good for the players. I don't know if it's good for the sports themselves competitively, nationally, or if this just regionalizes things maybe in some pockets a little bit more than they already were, because now there's even more advantage to bring in players. So, there's a lot of questions, but I'm interested to learn. All
right, around the corner, Jacob Zeno from UAB and his journey. Had a chance to visit with his father a little bit earlier today on the phone, Curry. He was at Baylor, now at UAB, and Nikki Collen at about 5:20 or so. Coming up, Craig Smoke. We got a couple of pictures. Here's a couple of pictures from City Ranch Boot Company, where Dequan Finn, the Baylor quarterback, and some of his offensive linemen are getting fitted for these boots. Again, alligator, elephant, crocodile, even said shark is what Dequan's going to get. So thanks to Tim Younger for sending those pictures of what they're doing. And, there was a picture of them having a big, huge lunch, too. So bunch of beefy offensive linemen, Dequan Finn taking care of them. And glad he was able to be a part of the show. Baylor opens up their workouts tomorrow. This is 365 Sports.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. Right now they're celebrating American quality as the Olympics are ongoing, and American value during the red, white, and blue sale at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. And right now the automotive industry is abuzz about the style and value of the new Buick Envista sedan. The Buick Envista, one of the newer models on the lot, is in stock right now at Richard Carr, and they have several priced under $24,000. So if you're looking for a new ride, looking for something with all the bells and whistles, and looking for something affordable to get you across the highways and byways and all your various summer trips and everything else that you've got going on, we'll look no further than the Buick Envista in stock right now, and several under $24,000 for you to peruse and check out. So that's a new offering. They also, of course, have a lot that's always seemingly filled with used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Right now, the lot loaded with over 100 highly inspected used cars and trucks, all special priced during the red, white, and blue tag sale. And with a dozen lenders to choose from, Richard Carr, they always are looking to get your credit approved when others can't, and 100% credit approval remains and is always their goal. So whether you're looking to buy new with the Buick Envista or some of their other offerings, you can find more information over on the website. You can go check them out in person as well, give them a phone call, or you're looking to get into something already a little bit worn in a good way, and price is good, and peace of mind is good, and you like what you see. Well, they've got plenty of options, such as the Buick Envista right now over at Richard Carr. For 25 years in Central Texas, they built a reputation as the people you can count on for your automotive needs. Log on to richardcarr.com today. Call now or go see them now off Highway 6, the Imperial exit.
Bambi SQ, what is the number one reason, or 2 or 3 reasons, Bambi, that people should contact House of Travel?
As a travel agency local here in Waco, we can take care of all your bookings, your payments, answer your questions, help you when there are issues or problems, things that may come up that you don't know what to do or how to fix them. People don't realize we don't charge a fee for what we do. It doesn't cost you extra to use a travel agent. We're just here. We get paid by the tour companies and the cruise lines to represent them. But you have an expert on your side that's here and local, and you have a name and a face to put together to help you with anything that you may need. Give us a call. We can price things for you. We can help you answer questions. We can make it simple, easy, and one stop.
Your knowledge of all the years you've done this and then spit it back to them or give them options?
Helps us to kind of know a date range, a budget, what your goals are and what you want to see and do on your vacation. And then that helps us to know what to look for, and we can narrow down and help you make the best choices for your vacation so you get the best value, you get exactly what you were hoping for, and making sure that it's taken care of with a carefree, easy, simple for you type vacation. I've been doing this for over 40 years. Every day I learn something new. I experience new situations and things that I can help take care of for people, whether it's just making sure you get the best deals and find the best vacations, or whether it's to solve that problem, like you've got a flight that's being canceled and don't know what to do. There's weather coming up, or should I cancel my trip next week because of the hurricane? Those are things that we take care of and you don't have to worry about. You've got somebody that you can rely on that you know is an expert, knows what we're doing, have been doing this for a long time, so that you're not questioning, okay, does the person on the other end of the phone really understand what I'm asking or know how to find those deals? You've got an expert, and we are here to take care of that.
For more information, go to houseoftravelwaco.com.
Established in 2007 and independently owned, Alliance Bank Central Texas is committed to helping families and businesses meet their financial goals. From their tellers to their board of directors, they know the importance of superior service and competitive products. Customers have confidence knowing that their financial needs are in good hands. It's your bank, Alliance Bank Central Texas, with 2 Waco locations, 4721 Bosque Boulevard and 191 Archway Drive on Highway 84, and at AllianceBankTexas.com. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Our good friend Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jewelers, here at 365 Sports. Now, Brad, people who watch and listen to our show know I'm a double-time customer for you, engagement ring and wedding band, and you guys do that great, but that's not all you do at Boozer's Jewelers.
Absolutely, and I always like to say, it's a new year. It's a great way to start the year out. Go through your old jewelry. Go through your wife's jewelry box. Go through anything you're maybe not wearing, something that's broken, something that you're not using. We do a massive amount of custom work. We can take your old jewelry, old diamonds, old watches, and we can convert it into something special for you and make a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry. And if that's not something you're interested in, a great thing is we can turn that into cash. So we buy gold, we buy diamonds, we'll buy Rolex watches, any kind of heirloom jewelry, anything that's maybe passed down to you.
Boozer's Jewelers, where do they find you, Brad?
We're at 1025 North Valley Mills Drive, right on the corner of Lake Air Drive and Valley Mills with the big clock on the corner.
Pioneer Steel and Pipe opened their doors in 1943, and they have never wavered with their focus on great product and customer service, relationships with a handshake, making sure you, the customer, is satisfied. Their new facility is now twice the size, allowing new inventory, higher quantities, and in a much more organized fashion. In addition to the long lengths in tubing, angles, channels, rods, and flat, Pioneer Steel and Pipe now offers several shorter, more convenient lengths of material already cut. Their 2,500 square foot showroom has over 1,000 new products in stock, new welding supplies, hardware, quickcrete, and do-it-yourself components for any project, whether you are a professional contractor or weekend warrior. The new facility is designed to make your loading experience faster and more efficient with easy drive lanes around the building and much more room to get your trailer loaded. Our location may have changed, but our values haven't, and our relationship with customers goes much farther than just business. Pioneer Steel and Pipe on Loop 340 and Highway 6 and just east of I-35 in Waco.
This is Craig Smoke's Off the Radar, presented by Alliance Bank. They take pride in making banking easy. AllianceBankTexas.com.
Welcome into Off the Radar here on 365 Sports. It's Tuesday. It's what we do on Tuesdays at around 4:45 and Thursdays as well, as sit back and crack open a handful of topics from around the world of sports and try to stay away from college football unless there's some stuff that I just know we aren't going to get around to, like uniforms or things like that. But nothing in the way of college football this week, although I am very much looking forward to this segment getting spiced up a bit with some actual game times that aren't like regular season baseball, and some ratings and some things like that. Now, there's a little bit of that still ongoing, but it's definitely the drier time of the year, is right this very moment, although we do have the Olympics ongoing, so that's helped keep the news cycle churning. But I guess let's start off with an area where I'm not going to be able to get too into the weeds because just far too much has gone on. And also, I don't know about all of these moves because I just don't follow baseball as closely as I used to. I feel like I follow it pretty closely, but not to the extent of where I am like a fantasy baseball player where you are like Paul Catalina and you know the ins and outs of the entire league because you're constantly massaging your roster. But it's been a very active day as the MLB trade deadline has now closed officially, or is about 10 minutes. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's 4:4. Okay, yeah. We're 10 minutes away from the MLB trade deadline officially closing. Would you say there's anything in the way of blockbusters? I don't feel like there's been anything that's like, wow, I can't believe that guy's going there. But there's been a lot of other interesting moves that I'll get to, like the Astros and the Rangers. But anything that's just leapt off the radar to you, Paul?
No, they're all. I mean, Luis Robert hasn't gotten traded. I thought he might. He will in the next 10 minutes. The Marlins are selling off. The biggest move is probably Tanner Scott to the Padres, to be quite honest with you right now. There's some good moves, and there's some things that are good. Jazz Chisholm was a big move. But, again, most of these are filling out parts. It's not, the big names like Tarek Skubal of the Tigers. He's not going to get dealt at the deadline. He might get dealt to the winner, but most of those will happen in the winter. But these are more, filling in plugs on or holes on rosters with guys, that are good players. So no, there's not been any real head scratchers to me either, other than, experts saying that prospect hauls are exorbitant, but I don't know about that. So
yeah, and you have been a little bit displeased with the lack of action, I guess, by your favorite team, the Boston Red Sox.
They've gotten a couple of pitchers. They really need a second baseman and a right-handed hitting one at that. Luis Rengifo of the Angels is available, but they're kind of far apart. So if that happens, that'll help. They are going for it. I would just like to see a little bit more, but Tristan Costas coming back next week or week after should help them. So we'll see. I'm optimistic, but the Yankees are always looming, even though they've played really bad lately. I don't know.
Yeah, the Yankees have been on some kind of a stinker of a run here.
And the Orioles are really good.
Yeah,
they're really good.
We watched them the other night in person, and they are a very good baseball team for sure. But, yeah, the MLB trade deadline closing here in the next 9 minutes, and there hasn't been any type of tsunami, like league-changing type of move. Houston did make an interesting addition, though, as they were able to acquire left-handed pitcher Yusei Kikuchi from the Toronto Blue Jays, 33-year-old. And in exchange, they sent a trio of players, rookie starter Jake Bloss, who was originally scheduled to pitch on Monday, but he got scratched, and so it's trade deadline time. You see a guy, especially a young guy, getting scratched, you're like, wonder if he's about to get moved. I actually saw, and I wish I would have tucked it away because it was in passing, but a player who just switched lockers at the stadium because he got traded.
Paul DeJong.
Yeah. That just walked across the hallway basically because he got traded from one team to the next that they were in action against. And so very quick, walk across the hallway and, hey, guys, I'm here.
It happened, it was the Rangers last year. They made a trade for someone, and I can't remember who it was, and they were playing them that day, and he packed up his stuff, and he walked across the hallway, and it was after the game, and I think they'd lost the game, which makes it even worse because you're mad after a loss, even if you're a good team. And he walked into the room, and Corey Seager was like, "You got a lot of nerve, buddy."
Yeah.
And he's like, No. I play here now.
Yeah.
I play here. I'm not coming in here gloat. I'm one of you.
The trade deadline, I thought last year had a little more zip to it. Wasn't Scherzer, Verlander?
Well, the Rangers were more active
Yeah,
last
well,
year.
and they had a right to be because they were a lot better than they are this year. That West Division allows people to all of them think they're a part of it, but it doesn't. I don't see anything that like made me even stop because otherwise it's just painting on the wall. I was like, whoa, like that. I didn't see one of those. At least not so far.
I think this has been a day more for the nerds maybe and like the minor league guys to just really see some names that they enjoy or guys who could be really good down the line. But in terms of like impactful star names, there hasn't been a much of a wave. But Houston's move with Toronto for left-handed pitcher Yusei Kikuchi, they sent Jake Bloss, who was getting ready to make that start before he got pulled. He is the Astros' number 9 overall prospect. Also, infielder Will Wagner headed to Toronto, Houston's number 13 prospect, and then outfielder Joey Loperfido. So 2 of their top 15 prospects. I've seen already the hot takes of like they got fleeced, they gave up way too much, but they needed pitching. They got pitching in 33-year-old lefty Yusei Kikuchi. So that was one of the names to mention there. Like I said, quiet on the Rangers front. They made like a little move here and there, but mostly I think the biggest news is the fact that as of yesterday, Josh Young's making his way back into the fold. And I know you passed along a note to me from one of our listeners, which I do appreciate, knowing that I'm a Rangers fan. I am very much keeping up, to tabs on the return of Josh Young and what that could look like. But they're hanging around, man. And if they can get Josh Young back and just stay healthy, and I mean
Bradford's coming back.
They got Cody Bradford, the former Baylor pitcher, also coming back along with Young. So I feel like we're about to see them maybe turn a little bit of a corner, but who knows? Long way to go.
Well, they had a nice run over about 15 or 18 games
here recently,
in Toronto. And then, of course, they won last night in St. Louis. But I'm of the belief, this has always been my opinion, it's not how many games behind you are, even if it's a number like 7, 8, or 9. If you're playing at a nice clip above 500, it all takes care of itself. And nobody in the West is doing that. So I don't know what's going to happen.
But the Mariners have made a bunch of deals. Actually, yes, one big deal.
Okay.
The Mariners, Randy Arozarena, not having a great year.
From Tampa?
But that guy is, and he got hurt the other night against the Red Sox in the loss.
That's isn't that Adolis' buddy?
Yeah. They're like Randy Arozarena, maybe one of the most fun players to watch, especially the postseason. He is keyed up. So that's going to be a big one for the Mariners. The Rangers did get left-handed reliever Andrew Chafin, who is a Kenny Powers clone today. That's going to be good for that bullpen, which is actually a pretty salty bullpen. It's weird how last year the lineup was the strength, and this year it's been so injured, and they've gotten through to this point being still in contention, and the bullpen's been pretty good this year, pretty steady for them. But
an all-star.
Yeah, I like Kirby Yates, a really good player.
Yeah.
I really like what this lineup will be when Josh Young comes back tonight. He's going to play tonight. So they'll get him back, and then they will get Jacob deGrom back here in a couple weeks as well, and that's going to only help them get some depth for the postseason if they get there. So.
Yeah, who the hell knows with Jacob deGrom at this point? I really don't know what to expect from him, so anything you can get is a good deal. But, yeah, Rangers making a flurry of moves. Josh Young, though, is back in the lineup. He's been gone for a while now, got hurt right at the very beginning of the season, was an all-star starter a year ago as a rookie. I don't know if we even remember all the way back to last year's all-star break, but broke his right wrist on April the 1st. He's had a litany of injuries, and so he will be in the starting lineup later on tonight. So that'll be great to see. And as you mentioned, left-handed pitcher Cody Bradford, former Baylor Bear, who was a big part at times of that Rangers rotation last year, like a spot duty and just having to kind of be an answer for them when they needed one. He is also coming back, so he had started off pretty well before getting hurt himself with a lower back strain and then what was ultimately a rib stress fracture. So both those guys coming back. Josh Young, look forward to seeing him later tonight. And that's just kind of a wrap around the Major League Baseball trade deadline, and thank you for adding Randy Arozarena in there because that is probably the most notable move now at this point. A couple of other notes. How much are you guys taken in the Olympics, and I'm going to say spoiler-free. I am not going to ruin it. We probably have a chance of like 2 people actually watching this stream that are like, please don't spoil it. So I'm not going to spoil it. I will update the medal count, and if that spoils it, I'm sorry, too bad. But as it stands right now, the U.S., right where we belong, baby, on top of the medal count, 26 total medals, which is 8 more than second place and the host country in France. France has 18, the U.S. with 26, China 14, Japan 13, Great Britain has 12. That is the top 5. The Americans with not the first place or even second place or even third place gold totals, however. They're a little bit further back when it comes to the golds. They're in sitting there with 4 golds overall, which is like a tie for 6th place at this point. Japan has the most with 7. China and Australia have 6. France and South Korea have 5 golds. And then you've got the U.S. and Great Britain tied up there for whatever that was, 5th or 6th place. So, sitting on top of the bronze count as well. So the most silvers, the most bronzes, the most overall medals. How much are you guys watching the Olympics at this point? I'm watching them a lot. I love the Olympics. I really enjoy it. Look, I watched some cool stuff happen today. Cool stuff. That's all I'll say. I watched a lot of the men's gymnastics, which I've never watched before. We have a fun team. I don't know anything about the nerd of the pommel horse.
Yeah. Squints. They need to call him Squints. Like the guy from The Sandlot. I enjoyed it. I thought that we did better than China and Japan, but I'm biased. None of our guys fell off the bars.
It's a degree of difficulty, Paul. That's how they cover their ass when it comes to judging with gymnastics and boxing and things like that.
Here's the thing. It all looks difficult to me.
You know, when there's actually someone that's a group of athletes that start and those who finish first, second, and third, that's the way it's supposed to be. But there are some sports when judgment can be a little bit. Hey, the United States has had the benefit of the doubt too.
Yeah.
But, I get what you're saying about the judging and all that.
I don't know what I'm watching, like degree of difficulty. When a dude is holding himself up parallel to the ground on those uneven bars.
Crosses?
On the uneven bars. To me, the degree of difficulty is a billion. It's a billion.
That's the rings.
Yeah, the rings.
The rings.
Uneven bars are the uneven
I always
bars.
thought that probably seems to be as hard as anything that anyone ever does, even the hardest of track events. I haven't watched a lot of it.
Yeah,
I haven't. It's not that I struggle when it's a different time zone because they always play it. You could watch it. You could turn it on to like 4 different channels now.
Well, live, and then the best stuff's tonight. I mean, it's always at night.
But I feel like even when it's on 3 or 4 different channels or streaming, that it just for me, because of how I grew up watching it, and again, it's changed, that it used to be you could watch one channel, watch it throughout the night, and watch everything that happened. But I will say this, and I'm going to say it. I thought the opening ceremonies was just ridiculous. And it became, here's what happened, and I'm not saying it's happened with me, is that some of what was displayed during the opening ceremonies with what they did in France is different. Some people won't watch it because of that. And I was like, why would you do something the ratings are great, and they will be great, and they have their own way of doing their artistic whatever it is. But I just, why?
Well,
why give anyone a reason to say I'm not watching?
It was...
I think you think that people are actually sitting there thinking and worrying about that. I don't think they were worried about that.
The French don't care. One, it was French people doing weird French stuff, so that's all I thought the whole time. And to not watch it because of the opening ceremonies, all right, do you think that that Simone Biles planned that? Like, why are you not going to watch her because of something?
No, I'm just saying, you're not listening to me. I said some people have been
I'm not talking about you, but
they're not watching because you open. I'm not that person.
No.
I just haven't had time to really lock in on it.
That to me is such a weird thing. Like, I'm not going to watch the whole Olympics because of something that some weird artsy French dudes did. Because again, the rugby team or the soccer team, they're on the boats going, what the hell's happening too, just like we were.
Does that girl in rugby have any eligibility left to play college football?
She's good. Rugby sevens. I'd never watched rugby sevens before. I'd watched regular rugby when it's on late at night and I'm in a hotel room with nothing else to do. And I've always kind of enjoyed watching it. Rugby sevens moves fast, man. It is fast. Yeah. I really liked it.
Yeah, USA picking up a medal. You can get more details later on tonight. I guess I'm sure they'll I don't know what's aired live and what people have seen or haven't seen, so I'm not going to try to spoil anything.
No,
but
the
U.S. did get good news there, and like I said, they're on top of the medal count, 26 total, 4 gold, 11 silver, 11 bronze. The only thing they trail in at this point is the gold medal count, but did add to that today, and will add to that most definitely over the coming days as well. So I know we got a busy last hour. I'll leave it there, but there's a couple of things off the radar.
All right, Craig, thank you very much. We appreciate that. The Olympic Games, the summer has always been more favored to me because I can relate to it, mainly because of the weather where I've been. But it is interesting that some things are won with time, and then some things are won with judging. And I think sometimes the ones with judging are perhaps the most popular when it comes to gymnastics, figure skating, etc., that you might see. All right, when we come back, Jacob Zeno, he played at Baylor, transferred to the UAB. Trent Dilfer's the head coach, had a really nice year last year with the Blazers. He will join us next, 365 Sports. Marco's Pizza, America's fastest growing pizza brand. 5 locations in the Waco area and probably one near you. Fastest growing pizza brand in America. 5 locations in the Waco area: Belmead, China Spring, Robinson, Hewitt, and also in Woodway. Bob Mock is the owner. He grew up when he started working after high school and college. He started getting in the pizza business, learned the ropes from various places, and then said, you know what, I want to do this on my own with my own pizza franchises, and that's exactly what he's done. Marco's Pizza, go online, marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it. There are numerous specials with codes and etc. that you can get. For example, my favorite, the pepperoni and sausage magnifico, packed with pepperoni, packed on top of that with sausage, Italian sausage, and then you could do thin crust or whatever, the regular crust if you want. Wings, sandwiches, salads, drinks, and more. Marco's Pizza, 5 locations in Waco and one near you at marcos.com. Samantha DeBall, TexasBeefHouse.com. Their online auctions through Bid on Beef is just unbelievable. So coming up on August the 7th and 8th, another live auction, TexasBeefHouse.com. You can go there. And also, Bid on Beef pops up. There's a catalog with all of the product available for what you can bid on to buy at what you want to buy. And Samantha, what will be featured this month?
So for the August 7th and 8th sale, we are going to have top sirloin, short rib, tri-tip brisket, and hamburger products. And also something that we are trying new is it is called a Thor's Hammer, and that is your bone-in shank. So we're excited for that one to be something new to offer in this August 7th auction.
And don't forget the code number 365 Sports, 10% off any order over $100. And TexasBeefHouse.com also ships free to any of the contiguous 48 states. It's August the 7th and 8th. Go to TexasBeefHouse.com or Bid on Beef for more information.
Looking to connect with Baylor alums in your area? Baylor alumni can help. Looking to host a watch party in your city? Baylor alumni can get you started. Want to step out in your community and serve with other alums? Baylor alumni is your connection with the university and each other. Let's get started. Learn how at baylor.edu/alumni.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nikki Group Insurance Agency. With the Nikki Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nikki Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nikki Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, raise your cholesterol, and cause weight gain. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results. So if you're tired of being tired, call or go online at pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $165 a month, including lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, and follow-up visits, compared to $300 or more a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to drive 90 miles one way or the other and fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T has board-certified physician consultations and will provide the best form of brand strength testosterone. Contact Petty Clinic Low T for increased energy, improvement in sexual desire and performance, mood, concentration, even a decrease in body and belly fat. Just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway, PettyClinicLowT.com.
This is 365 Sports.
The Sikkim 365 app is brought to you by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Jacob Zeno, UAB starting quarterback, coming off a really nice year, and someone we got a chance to cover when he was recruited, committed to Baylor, played at Baylor, and now at UAB. He joins us on 365 Sports, and we do appreciate the UAB Media Relations Department for allowing us to have time to talk with Jacob. Jacob, thanks for your time. Really do appreciate your time. How much fun has your journey been since walking on the UAB campus and finding a new chapter in your career?
Yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun, especially with Coach Dilford. You know, I always say that he's one of my best head coaches I've ever played for, just because, you know, he's a true player's coach. And just with him winning the Super Bowl, playing in the NFL for all those years, you know, I'm really like a sponge with him. I'm constantly learning, not only from Dilford, but Coach Mort that we had at Bama. And, you know, he has been with Tua, Jalen Hurts, all those great quarterbacks that Bama has had. And with Nick Coleman, our quarterback coach that was at South Carolina, it's like a three-headed monster. So I'm like a sponge with those guys. So I'm loving it here.
Yeah, and early on in your career, you had a lot of different head coaches and coordinators or whatever, and so that also helped. How much, since he played the position, can he see what you have been seeing that maybe at times was confusing or you weren't quite sure and relate to you, because even he's been through that?
Exactly. That's another good thing, too. He's played a position. You know, it's not like he's just a coach coaching. He's played in my position. He's played at the highest level. And so, you know, there's times where, you know, we're completely honest with each other. So there's times where he's like, man, you didn't see nothing right there, right? Or, man, you're seeing the game great right now. And I can, you know, just be real with him and know that he can relate with me because, you know, we've both been there at times. You know, he tells me that there's games where he's went out there and hasn't seen anything. And there's games that he'll go out there and see everything great. So just having that balance where I could just talk to him and keep it real with him is, you know, is something that a lot of quarterbacks don't have with their coaches or with their head coach.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a little kitten and 10 being a great white shark, how intense is Trent Dilfer as a head coach, especially during a game?
I mean, like a 5, I would say, maybe like halfway. He's not, sorry, I got the siren in the background.
That's okay.
He's not really that intense. He's really laid back on game days because we put all the work in. Now it's just going out and just having fun and playing the game. You know, he always tells us during the game week that we grind during the week. And when it comes to Friday and Saturday, you know, we're relaxed. We put all the work in. We prepared. And so now I just go out and have fun and do what we do.
Jacob, last year, your most significant playing time of your college career, you had the 3 years in Waco, and you were, you know, sitting behind on the depth chart and kind of biding your time and hoping to earn an opportunity. You get to UAB and play a good little bit there in 2022. But last year, like you were the man, right? What did that just feel like as a competitor, as somebody who loves the game of football, just to have the opportunity and to be able to go out there each week and show what you could do?
It felt good. You know, all the work from all those years, finally, you know, being shown, it felt good because I know I could do it all along. I just needed a platform, needed opportunity. So just seeing what I've been working for all those years, you know, come to light, it was a really good feeling.
How much was your faith and your confidence tested? Were there some days when you were maybe down a little bit more than others?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, my faith was tested a lot. especially when you know you're better than some guys that are playing and you know that what you have and you just wanted to have the opportunity to show it. There was times where I thought about quitting. There was times where I just thought about, like, why am I doing this? But then, I just put my faith in God and just realized that it was going to work out one way or another. So I just kept working every day, knowing that I was going to get an opportunity. And it came, 4 or 5 years later.
Did the testing of your faith actually, in the end, because of what you went through, does it actually make it even stronger?
It was already strong to begin with. So, I could say that, but my faith was strong to begin with. I knew that God had a plan for me, and if I just kept my head down and kept working, that it was gonna show.
Jacob Zeno, UAB quarterback, with us on 365 Sports.
Jacob, what do people not know about UAB this year? You guys have been steadily growing and getting better, but what are they sleeping on about you guys?
We're going to be explosive. We were explosive last year, but we're really going to be explosive this year. We added pieces in the portal on defense, on offense, addressed some stuff that we had with the O-line. And so, with all those guys coming together, we got weapons everywhere, especially on offense. And so I always say, like I was saying in the interview today after practice, man, my job is easy. All I got to do is get the ball to the playmakers. And if I do that, then, everything's going to be good. So, with our running backs, with our receivers, like I said, with our line, with our defense, it's going to be fun. It's really going to be fun. So I can't wait for the season to start.
How would you describe your knowledge and, well, obviously with more experience, but your knowledge of playing the position, and kind of talking about what Trent Dilfer said and what you've said, but your knowledge of playing the position and how you watch film and also in the moment on the field playing against an opponent, how would you describe the difference?
Can you repeat that again? Yeah, kind of broke out a little bit.
I'm sorry. How would you describe the difference in what you see on film and what you see now when you're in a moment against an opponent in a game? How much difference is that compared to maybe even when you were playing as a freshman at Baylor?
A lot different. It's even slowed down even more now. Last year I was seeing stuff pretty good, and especially in the off season, just going back and watching film from last year and seeing guys that were wide open that I missed, and just going out and practice in the spring and just seeing how much the game has slowed down. It's almost like every time I touch the field, the game slows down even more, and I feel like that's just with reps. And so now I feel like I'm finally at the level where it's matching what I'm seeing on film, if that makes sense.
Jacob, Birmingham is known as a college football epicenter. That's like the media, just the fanaticism of college football fans down there. UAB obviously brought back their program because people loved UAB and football so much. You guys debuted some new uniforms. Can you just kind of speak to the excitement that's built up for this year, but also just what you've observed being down there in Birmingham about the love of college football?
Yeah, man, Birmingham's a great city. The scenery, the campus, the food here is great. And, of course, we have Alabama right down the road and Auburn right down the road and, of course, UAB here. So, yeah, the fans go crazy for football. When it starts, even around now and in the fall, that's all people talk about is football, football, football. And so to be here in a city that loves the game so much is really good. Because we know that we have the support from all of our fans.
Jacob, you've always been a guy who's got a very strong arm, a cannon. How has it been developing between just probably the instinct of I can throw this thing anywhere I want to kind of taming that superpower, so to speak, and becoming a more complete passer?
Right. I've always had a big cannon, but I've always prided myself on accuracy. That's the biggest thing, because if I'm accurate and if I can put the ball anywhere I want it, then, that means we're scoring touchdowns. That means we're moving drives, and that means I'm an efficient passer. So I really just pride myself on accuracy, and it showed last year with my completion percentage. So if I just continue to keep doing that, then I'll be good.
74% of your passes, a 20-touchdown season and 3,100 yards. After not throwing many passes for 3 years, even though there were some big moments, including the Big 12 championship game, did your arm fall off last year throwing the ball 279 or 379 times?
No, it didn't. It felt good, especially with Coach Dilford. He always says that he wants to pass the ball a lot, and he really gave me the keys. On some of those throws, there were RPOs, advantage throws. So I would say half of those throws weren't even designed passing plays.
Right.
And just to have that freedom and just to have that trust, that knowing that I have full keys, I have the full car, so I could do whatever I want with the offense in a way. It's special, and that how would I say, that speaks on the bond that me and him have.
You obviously did have some memories at Baylor. Was the Big 12 championship game when you came off the bench because of the injury? Was that your favorite part of that time in Waco? It was, but since I've been thinking about my time at Baylor and just thinking about the league and stuff like that, I think I was sitting around talking to my roommate, and I feel like some of my best times, because even I was talking with Yusuf here, and even some of my best times is just being on scout team and going against the defense. So I sat back and looked, and as a freshman, I was going against the NFL defense. Yeah.
Just with Jalen Petrie, with Terrell Bernard, with James Lynch, with all those guys that are in the league right now. We were out there on scout team just ripping them, just having fun ripping them. And just to think back on that, I'm like, man, all those reps has been preparing me for what I'm going through right now and preparing me for the next level. And so I would say those would probably be my best memories as well.
What a career you had at John Jay High School in San Antonio. So tell me about the text messages, group text, and also the conversations that are sometimes just kind of cracking jokes and understanding, sometimes deep and spiritual, between your father, Curry, and Lonnie Coleman, the pastor.
Oh, yeah. We got a little group chat going on, really just with sports, we're always talking about the new topic with sports or what's going on in social media. But it's really cool to have that relationship, not only with my dad, but with my pastor.
Jacob, it sounds like you're having a lot of fun and that your mind is clear and you kind of love what you're doing and love the coaching staff and love what you could do for UAB as a chapter in your life that I'm glad it happened for you. We do appreciate your time. Go have a great season, okay?
Oh, yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Jacob Zeno, UAB, the Blazers quarterback with us. The touchdowns he threw, a couple of those in the Big 12 championship game, was the moment, and that created wow, and it just did not all work out for Baylor after that.
Or him until now.
Or him, and last year threw up 3,100 yards passing for UAB.
Yeah, he's already, I think, grabbed a couple school records. I think one was for completions in a season, and he had a really solid year. They didn't win enough games, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. They could have won more games, and they want to win more games, but he certainly gave them a lot of bright spots, and him coming back after the year that he had makes you think that they can win a bunch more games this year with him leading the way. So, yeah, great to see him have the opportunity to spread his wings and show off his talents, even if it wasn't in Waco. We knew he was a great player, and to see him just go do it, period, no matter where it was, is what I'm thankful for, because you'd hate to see talent go to waste, and he's flourishing in Birmingham right now, so that's great to see.
No doubt about it. From San Antonio to Baylor to UAB in Birmingham, and as you said, Craig, an incredible football city. We are now joined by Baylor women's basketball coach Nikki Collen. The news earlier today that her contract had been extended after 3 years at Baylor. Nikki, with Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, and David Smoke. Was this even something that you thought was in the working? And is it something that we didn't even know your structure, but it was great to see the news when it came down from Mac Rhodes?
Yeah, this has been something we've talked about, kind of since my year-end meeting a couple months ago. And so it didn't happen overnight. But I think both sides wanted the same thing, and that was for me to be here in Waco. So just really excited. I think it's a great thing for recruiting. It's a great thing for security for my family. It's a great thing for security for my staff. But ultimately, it's about building on what we've done over the last 3 years.
It is not easy anywhere to replace someone who's won 3 national titles, and growing pains and all those different things that happen. But what did you learn about yourself in these first few years about maybe some gears you didn't know you had when you come to building a program in your image and dealing with all the new stuff that happens in college athletics on the hour, it seems like?
Yeah, I think what's gone on in the last 3 years, Mac and I had talked about how the job he hired me to do isn't even close to the job that I'm asked to do now. If you think about within 6 weeks of me being hired, Texas and OU announced, they were going to the SEC, and there was this, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the Big 12? Where are we going to end up? And ultimately the Big 12 did an amazing job of keeping things together and then building off of that. NIL started that July, and that's just like that thing changes every 6 months, and now we talk about the House settlement and where that's headed and revenue share and everything else going on. It's almost more complicated than I even can understand. So the transfer portal and the portal windows and the unlimited transfers and the unlimited recruiting visits for seniors, juniors, and seniors, there's so much has happened in college athletics. But ultimately, the thing that keeps me, motivated to be here, to coach at this level, are the players, and I think as some things, as they change, the idea of hitting the practice court every day, that part hasn't changed, and I certainly think, there are some people thrive in different areas of coaching and leading programs. But I'm at my happiest, when I'm between the lines and really helping these players develop and grow. And it's been a fun summer, with our team. And so just excited to just keep moving forward and figuring it out. I mean, I think the nature of where we're at, I don't care if you've been a head coach for 40 years or 2. I think we're all kind of figuring out how to navigate, the waters of, where we're at in this landscape of college athletics right now.
What's it like to move more into the new digs at the Foster Pavilion, get some of the more the detail work that wasn't done last season? To see some of the videos has been great of the players getting to witness everything for the first time. But what's that whole experience been like?
Oh, it's like amazing, annoying. It's like a lot of different things all rolled into one. Like it was a unique challenge to move in July in the midst of, we had back to back 5-day recruiting weeks. And so, going to Mexico and back for the World Cup for me but really, really excited. I think this is a project that certainly was in the works before I was hired. But I got to really, really put my fingerprint on our spaces, whether it's our office space, our locker room, and there's a lot of things that are similar about our space in the men's, but also very, very different because of how we think, how we move, like how we want the space to function. And so it's kind of been like not any different than seeing – it's gone from 2-dimensional with this idea to like actually 3-dimensional in furniture. And so it's been fun. Like, I think, we're still in that as anyone who's built a house knows, like, you move in and then you find 72,000 things that you need from trash cans to, the bigger things to touch up paint to graphics to whatever, but it's going to be an unbelievable space for our student athletes, to to train, really to get better, from our nutrition area to our strength and conditioning to our athletic training. It's the best of the best. And so our athletes are really, really lucky. Our staff is really lucky, that we get to look out. Now I know the Brazos is not, the Caribbean or anything,
Right.
but, I think, to go from no windows in our office space to trying to figure out where I'm going to put things on the walls because I have more windows than walls, is really a good problem. So really, really grateful to be in this space.
How have prospects reacted to seeing what you have now?
We're just starting. We've been in here. We've been able to kind of walk them through the construction zone over the last 6 months. But we'll start to really be able to show it off this fall with official visits. But certainly the people that have been here so far, whether it's unofficially or it's just a walkthrough day, I think are pretty amazed. There's a lot of amazing places out there, and it's not to give my recruiting spiel, but ultimately, I think players' happiness comes down to, do they have opportunity to play? Do they have opportunity to win? And do they like the people that they're going to play with and for? But I certainly think when you get to do it in a space like this, it makes it a lot better, and I think for us, it's the functionality of it. It certainly aesthetically is very, very pleasing and nice. But the practice court being 1.5 times the size of what we're used to, we really have usable side baskets now. We can get more kids in at once. And so I think from that perspective, we just have a really, really awesome space. And I don't think there's any doubt that it's going to wow a lot of 17-year-olds.
I remember talking to you on maybe the day that you were hired, and many times since that time. You never seem to ever waver, no matter what, ups and downs or in-betweens, championships or critical and gut-wrenching losses like a USC. Did you ever, that we don't know about, ever waver in what your plan and what your game plan and what your mission statement was?
Wow, that's deep. I think I've had moments where I've said, this is really hard, or, but I don't think I've ever shied away from hard work or wanting to be great, at where I'm at. I've never been someone ever, and I've been lucky this way. I've really never looked for another job, and so because of that, the opportunities that I've had, I've just really owned. And so I just really felt like this is a job I could do, that it was a job I could do well. And it doesn't mean that there weren't a lot of hard times. It doesn't mean that I didn't ever question myself. I think, but I'm a big believer in, ultimately seeing things through. And I think I've also been smart enough to not say things like, this is my dream job. This is the job I've wanted my whole life. This was an amazing opportunity, and I love Baylor, and I'm going to give Baylor everything I've got, for as long as they want to keep paying me, so I'm really grateful. I think this meets a lot of, who I am. I'm unapologetically Christian in my approach. Faith is important. It's at my foundation. And so, being able to openly pray with our team and share the gospel and have those real conversations, and know, that this is just, a blip on our eternity. But so I think there are a lot of boxes are checked with me being at Baylor, but ultimately it's about continuing to be passionate about what I do and love the people I do it with and love the people that I do it for. And I think it's very easy, with Linda Livingstone and Mac, to be in alignment, and to feel really good. I mean, I've said this to a number of recruits, a number of parents. It's how many people get to actually coach at a place where the president of the university played their sport? I just, that's not, in academia, it's that's just a rarity, let alone someone that played women's basketball. So we not only get to sell a female, and empowering women, and look, the leader of our university is a female. We have strong leaders on our leadership team and the athletic department. So, I consider myself really, really lucky to work for people that care about winning, but also care about people and truly building champions for life and preparing them. And so I know it's a tagline, but I believe it's important. And I think it's never been more important, to really empower these young women in a lot of different areas. So I can't say, I'd probably be lying if I said I've never wavered. I think we all have self-doubt, but I think when it comes to the big picture, I might have a bad night, but when I wake up in the morning, I'm ready to do my job all over again, and I'm ready to do it better. And so I haven't met a lot of challenges in life that I don't want to conquer. I just really don't run from challenges. And so this isn't an easy job, but I think I get to work with great people and surround myself with an awesome staff. And, when a head coach gets a contract extension, it's a direct reflection of the entire staff. And that's just not, something you say, it's something you live, because these are the people that help you day in and day out, do your job and empower you to do the things that you do the best. Every head coach is a little bit different in terms of what their strengths and weaknesses are. So, I surround myself with people that help pick me up in the areas I'm not as good, and I get to challenge them in the areas they're not as good. So, it's a really special moment, I think, for our staff to know that we've done a good enough job, that we get to do it for a lot longer.
What is it like at this moment in women's basketball, something that you and a lot of people have been working very hard your entire basketball careers to get a lot of people to notice that weren't noticing women's basketball, to start coming around to the sport and having the athletes that you have available to you now and getting to recruit people into women's basketball now, and not only players, but fans that have been sleeping on the game for a long time?
It's wild. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I think, obviously it's more than Caitlin Clark, but the Caitlin Clark effect is real. Going up to the Wings game, to see Melissa and Odyssey and Kalani and Christy Wallace play, and, just the number of 22 t-shirts and jerseys that were in line, to watch that game. I've really never seen anything like it. And so, I think this momentum we have, is really, really special. And I think we've got to really springboard off of that. We've got to continue to grow. And I think when people see it, they enjoy it. I think there's still such a grassroots approach to the women's game that there's a different connection, between the student athletes and fans and young girls, and not just young girls, but young boys as well. And so, I think we just have to do a good job of taking advantage of this moment and understanding that our platform has never been bigger. When I think about games like we get to play this year, we're going to play some games on some of the biggest stages. And one of the things that I'm most proud of, being at Baylor, is that, I knew Baylor's a big brand, and Coach Mulkey built Baylor into an unbelievable brand, on the women's side. But we've continued to get, the big tournaments, the tournament operators, the matchups. They're calling us, just like they're calling USC and South Carolina. And so it's not like our light has been dimmed. Do we want to accomplish more? Absolutely. But I think we've kept the brand really, really strong. And it just looks a little different, and so I think that's, and I'm not afraid to say it looks different. We play differently. I'm not the same person. I'm not the same coach. But I think there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat and be really, really good at it. So yeah, I think it's an amazing time. There's going to be more games on TV, more eyes on our game. People are paying attention, and there's going to be the next Caitlin Clark. There's going to be, and whether that's Juju Watkins or Hannah Hidalgo or Malaysia Fulwiley or Paige Beckers, we're going to have those players at Baylor too. And if they just, you watch them, you're going to get to see a lot of other great players. So, I think it's a really, really good time in terms of, what's going on in our sport.
Can't wait to talk to you again and bring something deep another question to make you think a little bit. No, I'm kidding. We appreciate you. So happy for you, and look forward to talking to you again soon. Enjoy the new facilities and the amenities, and thanks for your time.
You got it. Appreciate you guys.
Nikki Collen, Baylor women's basketball coach, got the new extension through the year of 2030 that came out from earlier today. You want to break here, come back with John McClain, and then top 5. This is 365 Sports.
Don Humidor and Coffee Beans in the Townwest Shopping Center between Richland Drive and Valley Mills in Waco is where I get my cigars. 48-foot walk-in humidor with all of the great brands, nationally and internationally, the best elite brands around the world. And how about this email from owner Josh Caldwell, who told me about a couple that drove in from Fort Worth to Waco purely based on listening and hearing me talk about Don Humidor. They have a pipe that's a bit of a family heirloom that needed to be repaired. They made the special trip to Don's after listening to 365 Sports, finding out we are one of the only shops left that can help them with the pipe. Not only are they going to fix the pipe, and they did, they also bought a new setup, complete with pipe, stand, and some sample tobaccos. Don Humidor and Coffee Beans in the Townwest Shopping Center, just between Richland Drive and Valley Mills in Waco. 48-foot walk-in humidor, great cigars, even what you need when it comes to smoking pipes and repair, and fresh coffee beans. Don Humidor and Coffee Beans with Cheyenne and Josh in the Townwest Shopping Center between Richland Drive and Valley Mills in Waco.
Make this the summer of Ram at Allen Samuels in Waco. Drive home in a 2025 Ram 1500 Lone Star for just 2.9% for 72 months with no payments for 90 days. Plus, first responders get an extra $500 off at Allen Samuels.
Some say a dog is a man's best friend. But I tell you what, boys, you better think again. 'Cause there ain't nothing better than some cows, pigs, and turkeys too. I love to cover them in sauce down at Rudy's Barbecue.
Bring all your friends to Rudy's for some tasty oak smoke barbecue.
Next in line.
Developed by Startup Waco, a nonprofit organization, GXG is a program designed to support the entrepreneurial development of Baylor University student athletes through NIL activations. The program helps student athletes maximize their platforms and offers a comprehensive support system for them to create and grow new businesses that not only benefit themselves, but also uplift the local economy. Fans who wish to support student athletes can donate to GXG via the GXG NIL Fund, BaylorBears.com/GXG. Contributions to support NIL activations through GXG can be made at BaylorBears.com/GXG. For more information, follow at GXG_GreenXGold on social media and visit the official website www.gxg.startupwaco.com. GXG, empowering student-athlete entrepreneurship and uplifting the local economy through NIL activations.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments. With financial advisor Brad Wilson, investing his time and experience back to you and your money during today's changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
John McClain, Hall of Fame columnist, yet more. Of course, NFL training camps have opened up. A game coming up, a Hall of Fame game very soon. And then before we know it, early September with games that begin. John, thank you for your time. How many training camps have you covered? And was San Angelo your first back with the Oilers?
No, my first one, this is 48. And the first one, I left the Tribune Herald in 76 to come cover the original Houston Aeros hockey team with Gordie Howe and his sons Mark and Marty. And my first training camp with the Oilers was 1977, and it was in Nacogdoches for 1 year. And it was a disaster because I guess they hadn't figured out with all those tall trees in East Texas that the heat doesn't disappear. It just sits. And I'll never forget, they had to have 36 players spend at least one night in the local hospital getting IV for dehydration. So they left there and went out to San Angelo in 78 when Earl Campbell was a rookie in the birth of Love You Blue with Campbell, Bum Phillips, and quarterback Dan Pastorini. And training camps have changed so much because most teams train at home now. When I started, everybody went on the road because their facilities were terrible. And now that they've built them these luxury facilities as well as stadiums, there's no need to go on the road. I always had a blast. I went from Nacogdoches to San Antonio, to San Angelo, San Marcos, San Antonio, and Trinity University. At San Antonio is the nicest place I have ever seen for a training camp. And they had a great field. They had a great dorm. They let the Oilers eat in the teachers' cafeteria, which was elevated. You could see the downtown skyline. And then when the Oilers left because they moved to Nashville, the Cowboys wanted to go there. And Trinity said, nope, you got too many fans. They'll be tromping on our flowers and our grass. The Oilers never had enough fans to cause us any problems, so the Cowboys were unable to move to Trinity.
John, training camp drama is kind of all around. Some of it's a big deal. Some of it just gets overblown. But I was kind of interested by Matthew Judon at Patriots practice. He's doing like the hold-in thing where he's there, but he's not practicing. And he got in a fight with a coach very publicly and the GM and other people in the front office yesterday in practice. How do you see that one playing out?
I'm surprised that hadn't happened sooner when a player's in and there's all the talk about his contract and he's not practicing and everybody else is working their butt off. Players accept it, and coaches should never get involved in anything involving numbers. And players' feelings toward holdouts or hold-ins, you got to do what's best for you and your family, and we stay out of it. Of course, everybody's got an opinion of it, but that one just got captured on tape. And these days with social media, you better make sure, unless you're on Hard Knocks, that you're indoors in a meeting room. If you got a problem where there's no cameras to put it out on social media, it becomes very public, as Judon did. But they'll get it worked out. Teams always get it worked out. Some take longer than others, and then the bygones are bygones.
John, the preseason kickoff game coming up against the Bears on Thursday night, saw where Caleb Williams isn't going to play, and I know that's just kind of par for the course. These preseason games, the importance can vary. What level of importance, if any, or intrigue, if any, do you have towards Thursday night's contest against Chicago?
None whatsoever. The only thing that game's good for is backups or maybe new starters. I don't expect C.J. Stroud to play. Of course, the networks would love C.J. Stroud and Caleb Williams to play, but they're going to play second game in regular season when they play here at NRG Stadium. So you're going to see a lot of backups. And the Texans like having the extra game because they signed 14 defensive free agents, including 5 cornerbacks, and they drafted 5 of their 9 picks were defensive players. And they know going up against the first place schedule and so many great quarterbacks, they got to be better on defense. So when you have that many and you have potentially 5 starting jobs available, you need as much time as you're going to get to evaluate them. Offensively, they really only have one job available, and that's at left guard where they're open. Kenyon Green, selected first round 2 years ago out of A&M, started as a rookie, was mediocre, missed last season. Now he's back. But defense, they got a lot of jobs open. And it's interesting, Jalen Petrie, and I don't know why this is, but Petrie is now playing in the slot. He's playing like he played at Baylor. And I don't know why when you watch tape of Petrie at Baylor and how he became Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, it takes you 3 years to put him in a position where he played and excelled. And the first 2 years, he was moved around in different positions in the secondary, not corner, but different ways he played. And now he is the slot corner between Derek Stingley Jr., who third overall pick 2 years ago, who's outstanding, and their top pick this year, Kamari Lassiter, second round. He came in there and took the starting job immediately from 5 veteran corners, including 2 were top 10 picks, Jeff Okudah and C.J. Henderson, and he's not letting it go. So Petrie, everybody's been praising him because it's such a natural position. And I asked Petrie today, I told him that at the high school coaches convention, Joey McGuire, former Baylor assistant, of course, Texas Tech's head coach, he was asked about I think he was asked about Petrie, and he told the Trib, he said he thinks there should be a statue outside McClain Stadium for Jalen Petrie, and that of course was because he was the only one from his class to stick around after the scandal. And I've heard the story before, but I wanted to hear the story again. And first of all, he talked about, how much Coach McGuire had meant to his career and so many others' careers while he was at Baylor. And then he talked about what an honor that would be. And I didn't tell him if they're erecting any defensive player statues, Mike Singletary should be first. Yeah. But he talked about what an honor it would be. And I said, tell me again why you didn't leave like everybody else in your recruiting class. And he said, truthfully, really, Baylor and SMU were the only schools that offered me. And he said, since Baylor showed so much faith in me, there was no way I was not going to show faith in Baylor. Of course, that paid off great. Bryce Cherry wrote about that, and I thought it was great for McGuire to say that, and then I thought it was great for Jalen to respond the way he did. And I look for Jalen Petrie to have the best season of his 3-year career.
That's great to hear. I know it's been kind of up and down as of last year, so that's great if he is about to hit his stride. This weekend, the Pro Football Hall of Fame ceremony in Canton, Ohio. You have a lot to do with helping them get the class year in and year out, and this one particularly special because Andre Johnson is a part of it, John. And I didn't think about this till just a moment ago, but the first Houston Texan, right, inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame as far as like a through-and-through Texan. What do you think that means to the franchise, and how much are you looking forward to seeing Andre Johnson getting inducted this weekend?
Well, as someone who covered him the entire way, I wrote a column on HoustonTexans.com today about how he became a Texan, going back the first time I saw him when he was a sophomore at Miami, playing on those great Miami teams, only lost 2 games in 3 years, finished second, first, and second nationally. And if you look at that roster, my God, they had like 5 number 1 picks at running back. And the one that wasn't, Frank Gore, played the longest and had the most yards. But they tight ends, Kellen Winslow and Jeremy Shockey. It was amazing the talent that they stockpiled. Now, of course, they were the leaders in NIL. That was before NIL was 3 letters and legal, and they got caught. But the fact is they had so much talent. So I wrote about that, wrote about Kamari Lassiter yesterday, their top draft choice. But as someone who made the presentation to our committee to try to get him in for 3 years, third time was a charm. I'm so happy for him, happy for the Texans. There's thousands of Texans fans going up there to pay tribute to him. He's got parties. McNair's are throwing a big party for him that night. So, and Andre Johnson represented everything good that you want in a player. He wasn't a diva. He didn't argue and scream and pour lighter fluid on himself and set himself on fire to get the ball and to get attention. He was quiet. He did his job. The only time he's involved in any controversy with Titans cornerback Cortland Finnegan when he pounded him during a game. And so I'm happy for him, his mom, his daughter, and all those Texans fans. And I'm writing a column for Monday. They'll be back there in 4 years because J.J. Watt will be number 2.
John, real quick, we got to go, but the Astros have made a couple of moves at the trade deadline. We know the West is wide open, but they're like right now the best of those three average teams. Do people in Houston feel like they've done enough?
No. Kikuchi, the pitcher from Toronto, has been awful for the last 2 months. He's really good for the first part of the season. The relief pitcher's been good in 1 inning with the Yankees. Means he can only pitch the 6th inning. And he's been terrible the rest of the time, so people are not real fired up about it. But, anything's better because they needed arms because of the injuries. Hopefully they'll get Verlander and Luis Garcia back in September.
John, the Joe Green thing, you wanted to mention that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I want to thank everybody at the Hall of Fame, everybody that came, Jay Black, Kristen Martin, Dennis Mercado, and everybody else. Joe was a huge hit. And I found out that his real name is not Joe. I told people, I said, well, everybody thinks Joe's his middle name and means his first name is Joe was given to him by an aunt when he was 5 years old because they said he looks like heavyweight champion Joe Louis. So it kind of stuck. Thank you guys very much as always.
Hey, John McClain, Hall of Famer, with us on 365 Sports. What a day, what a bunch of guests that we have today. We will have 365 Sports tonight at 10:30, but we're not done. Paul Catalina and the Top 5.
It's time for Paul Catalina's Top 5, brought to you by Texas Beef House. Where's the best beef in Texas? Your house when you order from Texas Beef House. Unleash the flavor of Texas-raised Wagyu. From our pasture to your plate, TexasBeefHouse.com.
I'm back, and somehow wearing the same shirt as I did when I started this whole thing last week. Well, it must be laundry day. Paul Catalina's Top 5, presented by Texas Beef House. 365 Sports is your promo code, 10% off. We're still diving through the preseason top 25. Later in the week, on Thursday and Friday, we will have the 10 teams that just missed it, and I tortured myself over trying to find a way to put them in here. So if you are not included in this, please don't send me hate mail. I really, really worked hard on this. Garrett and Emery can confirm. I labored over it for minutes. Number 10, Florida State. I still think they're the class of the ACC. I think they've got the best coach going right now in the ACC, and Mike Norvell. And yes, I'm a homer, but a true homer would put them at 1 or 2. I think this is a team that's 10-2, 9-3 at the worst. We'll see how DJU adjusts. I think that they'll be really good on defense again, even though they've lost some guys over there. I think they'll be very efficient on offense. I think you'll see a better running game, maybe even last year overall than numbers-wise. Wide receiver's a big question mark, but I think they'll get that worked out because they've got some athletes. Just don't have 2 alpha dogs like Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson. That's not the case right now. Maybe somebody develops into that. Malik Benson, Hakeem Williams, someone. But they have depth there, and they have a lot of good. They just may not have great. And you can get by with a lot of good as long as you don't have bad. Running back will be a really fun position for them. And they have a fun schedule this year. They got to take on Notre Dame. They got Miami. They got Clemson. They got Florida. They've got Memphis, Georgia Tech, and Ireland. This should be a wild year for the Noles and should be very, very fun to watch. Number 9, Alabama. I just love this movie so much, and I particularly love this scene. And, you know, I know it's not – he played for the Crimson Tide. He was number 44. He was a damn good kickoff returner in Forrest Gump. I think that this is a team that's going to be really good. They've lost some of their depth, which is why I have them at 9th. But they haven't lost Jalen Milroe. They've got guys you've probably not heard of as much that are still going to be studs. Kalen DeBoer is an excellent coach. They'll be fun to watch. He's not afraid to take a lot of risks either, so it should be fun to see him and Jalen Milroe kind of meshing there when that offense comes down to it's 4th and 7 at our own 41-yard line, we're going to go for it, kind of a thing that Kalen DeBoer likes to do. He loves to throw caution to the wind because he believes his team will get it back no matter what. One of the most confident coaches in the country, and I love that about him. Number 8, Kansas State. I've got them higher than most anybody. Why, Garrett? Because I am Avery Johnson's number one fan outside of Manhattan, Kansas.
That is 100% correct.
I think he is dynamic. I think he's going to be super fun to watch. He gives me Johnny Manziel vibes. I was at Johnny Manziel's first start they actually lost, not his fault, against Florida, and I thought, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun to watch. And then I found my way back to watch them that year every time Baylor had an away game or bye week, like whatever. I went back and saw Johnny Manziel play a bunch in his career. I say a bunch, 3 times in his career that I went to that Cotton Bowl game. But Avery Johnson gives you that kind of thing where you just don't know what's going to happen, and I think that, especially in a league like the Big 12, throwing a guy like that in here, oh my gosh, he's going to be a whirling dervish. It's going to be fun. Who do I have ranked ahead of them? Well, we don't have to go too far out of the conference to Utah. I think that you got to put Utah, and look, I picked Kansas State to eventually win this league. They don't play each other in the regular season, so the only way they're going to play each other is in the conference title game. So I'm putting Utah here because Cam Rising is back. He has a huge chip on his shoulder. You can tell he's missed playing ball. He is ready to go. They've got a great running back in Micah Bernard who can take a lot of pressure off of him. They've got Brant Keithy back. They're absolutely excellent tight end. Their offensive line is always going to be good, and Kyle Whittingham's defense just knocks you into dust all of the time. So I still think this is going to be a really good team, but we'll see what happens down the line when it comes to meeting the bigger powers of the Big 12 for Utah. But number 7, I think, is a really fair spot for them to start out the season. And finally today, number 6, Ole Miss. I think this is a playoff team. Let me tell you something about Ole Miss that I might be one of the few people in the country that's mentioned before, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but they killed the transfer portal this year. Walter Nolan, the chief among them. But they got a ton of really good players in the transfer portal. And they did lose Quinshon Judkins, which is a total bummer for them. But they are stacked across the field. One of the knocks I saw on them coming out of SEC Media Days is, do they have the quality depth like everybody else in the SEC? Here's one thing that nobody's talking about. Lane Kiffin also not afraid to use the JUCO route to get guys, and he's got 5 to 7 of the top 20 ranked JUCO players in the country coming in there. So that's the depth. Those are veteran guys who are ready to play at the next level, who have matured in most cases in JUCO when you get JUCO transfers. I think depth is not going to be a problem for Ole Miss, and I think that if it's not now, it might be never for Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, because this team is absolutely stacked. Stacked. They spent a lot of money. They should earn this. And by the way, this is Ulysses Bentley. Don't forget about him. He's still a really good running back and just overshadowed by a stud in Quinshon Judkins the last couple of seasons. That's going to do it for us today. I'm back with the top 5 tomorrow. Please, no hate mail. Or just address it to Smokey. The fact that I'm here is his fault anyway. He came up with this segment. I still love doing it, but just blame it all on him, because I don't know if I can take the slings and arrows emotionally anymore. I'm a sensitive little boy. Which is a great way to end a college football segment, with the words, sensitive little boy. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I hope you enjoyed the top 5. We're wrapping it up right now.
None of that is true.
You did ask me to do a top 5.
Yeah, I did. And I also came up with a sponsor with TexasBeefHouse.com. All right, good stuff today. Enjoyed what we brought. Hopefully the content, you can go back and listen to it, watch it if you didn't get to do it when we're live 3 to 6. Tomorrow, Colt Barber's going to join us and breaking down some of the topics with Baylor, and we'll have some more Big 12 analysts for among the 16 teams that now 5 of the 16 have opened up their workouts. The rest will do that tomorrow. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, Garrett Ross, thank you, sir. Jack McKenzie, Emery Winter has already told me what we'll have tonight on 365 Sports tonight, including having a couple of college quarterbacks live on the show, was pretty darn cool. I'm David Smoke. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to those of you who watch us every day. Good night. This is 365 Sports.